Did your audience know about this?
No, they don't know about this. The people you keep around you, you have to be careful.
You were the one who changed the destiny of your family.
One of the person pulled me aside. It's like, Michelle, you just sold $300,000 worth of makeup. I was like, what? Yo, you gotta meet up with Doja Cat. I think she's gonna be the next big thing. If you focus on you can do very, very, very well.
What's the biggest brand deal you've ever landed?
So one was I spent the first $1 million. I gave the $3 million back to them. Word on the street, everyone knew TikTok was going to launch there soon.
Michelle Phan didn't just invent beauty YouTube, she accidentally invented the influencer economy.
YouTube beauty vlogger.
Over 8.5 million subscribers.
Michelle Phan.
Michelle Phan.
Michelle Phan. Michelle Phan.
Nobody knew where she had gone.
The internet is starting to get really worried.
What the hell's going on with Michelle Phan?
One of the biggest questions on the internet.
Oh no, what is that?
But you decided to leave at your peak. If there was someone born to be first, it must be Michelle Phan. One of the first to upload a YouTube video, the first influencer to land a magazine cover, the first to even use the word influencer, the first creator to be on both Inc. 30 and Forbes 30, the first to land a brand deal on YouTube, the first to build a $1 billion subscription business. Ipsy got into crypto early. With over 1 billion views and counting, she created iconic videos like the Barbie transformation tutorial with 69 million views when YouTube only had 25 million monthly users. Who taught not only you, me, your best friend, your next door neighbor's 5 cousins how to do makeup, but an entire $250 billion creator economy how to influence.
I would say the biggest mistakes I've made is
Truly, Michelle Phan walked so every influencer you follow today could run. But here's the mystery. Why did she leave her $1 billion brand at its peak?
I had two choices. Keep pursuing the world is my oyster, the world is mine, or love. Girl, what do you think I chose?
What happened during those 10 silent years?
Were they even aware that they were seduced by this power? I was controlled.
And now that she's back, what trend is Michelle Phan about to spark next?
Miss, you forgot something.
There are people making 20 to 30K a month from TikTok Shop, and they're not big creators.
There's one girl who did a GMV of 6 million a year. She uploads 5 videos on TikTok a day. Who are your childhood friends? I actually don't have any.
Welcome to the Marketing Bestie podcast, where we dive into branding, business, and creative strategy with the smartest founders, CMOs, and culture shapers to help you and your business unlock your unlimited potential. In this episode, we're diving into the rebrand of Michelle Phan, her $1 billion brainchild Ipsy and Cosmetics, her 10-year disappearance, and as the first mover in YouTube, e-commerce, and investing, how is she shifting her brand strategy for a future with AI and creativity?
I'm not a talent. That's the truth. So what now? Truth is, I don't know yet. I just want to create. And that's what makes me happy. Syncing.
Sync now. It's been 18 years. Yeah?
Since being online, I think in 2 years, it's going to be 20 years since my first YouTube video. But I would say the first time I uploaded any type of content online, I was 13 years old. I discovered the internet and I just knew this was the future. This is where everyone's going to hang out.
I don't know if you realize how impressive the legacy you started is. Just gonna.
Oh no, you're gonna pull out some facts? Oh gosh.
Well, I feel like
this
just
is fun.
A lot of people don't know you were one of the first YouTube influencers, but also a serial high-profile entrepreneur. You built a $1 billion Ipsy empire. And it's one of the first creator-found businesses. You were also investing in a lot of things early, like crypto. You have your thematic, which I use. I love that company, finding just music. And then you invested in a lot of different projects. We have our beloved Cosmetics.
It's crazy. I started everything in my bedroom, this whole entire thing. That's what I tell people all the time when they come in my office. They're like, wow. I'm like, I opened a laptop and I just started recording. I taught myself iMovie. I taught myself how to edit. I just was, I was not scared to try and fail in a way.
This tutorial will show you how to take a tomato and turn it into an invigorating scrub and blend it in a circular motion.
And I think this is what stops so many people from pursuing their dreams is to fail.
Did you have no fear?
Well, I had nothing to lose. I literally had nothing. So what did I have to lose? And it's interesting because now I'm in a different position in my life.
Yes,
than I
because-
was when I started off.
Which is interesting because it brings up one of the biggest questions on the internet.
Oh no, what is that?
Oh, get ready. You basically reached a point where you built this billion-dollar brand, both in Ipsy and in your personal brand value. The earned media value is just insane. It has tremendous, tremendous value. You have a brand of trust, you have a brand of authority, and it's very established as aspirational and relatable.
The lovely Michelle Phan. Michelle Phan's a bona fide YouTube sensation.
If she has 1 million fans, I am one of them. If she has 1 fan, it's me. If she has 0 fans, I'm dead.
But you decided to leave at your peak. And I think the top 3 burning questions that everyone's been asking is, what happened during those lost 10 years? What made you come back? And this is the kicker. I would say, why are you suddenly going live basically every day, doing these 8-hour lives?
I'm going to be having the lowest price ever in the history.
And is it true that rumor has it you made a brand $300,000 in just one live show?
So many questions, so many burning questions. Okay.
As an appetizer to all the heavier questions later, when I was having dinner with a friend, she was like, oh yeah, what is Michelle Phan like? What is one thing about you that might surprise other people? Because I feel like I know so much about you and we've known each other for so long, but sometimes I forget that a lot of people will still see you as a mystery, especially since you were kind of gone in the last 10 years.
I think people are surprised that I can carry so many different conversations on so many different topics.
Yes.
So we can talk about anything.
That is true.
Because I think I'm just a curious person, so I know so many random facts. Like, throw me in Jeopardy and I'll win the damn thing for you.
I think so.
Honestly.
Season to season.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's one of your key qualities that makes your brand so lasting. You're never afraid to explore unknown territories and you're never afraid to innovate. So you always have skin in the game and you're willing to test and repeat, either learn or win. Yeah. So that's something I really respect.
Thank you.
Yeah. I find it super, super inspiring.
Well, what's one thing that you were surprised about when you first met me?
I think the curiosity part definitely struck me. It really stuck with me, and I have so much respect for that. But also, you're just so pure and kind-hearted.
Thank you.
Literally, I'm sure you know this, like a lot of people in the industry are very transactional or surface level.
Yeah, I know.
But you really put your heart out there, and it's something really rare and something I really cherish. So super grateful for our friendship.
Thanks, babe. I mean, I'm just typical Aries. I'm just 0 to 100. That's it. You either have full passion of mine or nothing.
Mm-hmm. Are you kidding? That's unfair. She made those. I need to calm down. Everything's fine.
Amanda.
I'm an adult.
I feel like fire signs, like a Leo and Aries,
That's
like
true.
we get each other. We
That's
get each
true.
other.
We're very intense.
We are. We're either intense or bi.
Yeah, we're
That's
gone.
it. Yep.
Basically. When you first started, have you ever imagined that you would create this $250 billion influencer economy? Like, you really led the forefront of that.
Is that how much it is now?
Yeah, I want to take us back to the very beginning because I feel like building the empires in these different pockets of the internet is amazing, but nothing could have been done without establishing your personal brand first. So when you first started YouTube, what was that experience like, and what was the process of building your personal brand? Was it intentional, or did everything just fall into place naturally?
I would say it fell into place naturally, but just because when I started my channel on YouTube, I already had an established, I don't want to call it a brand presence, but I had a pretty popular blog that had its own following on Zanga. So I think I was the most followed female blogger on Zanga. And here we are.
You had that intuition since 13 years old.
Well, of course. I mean, I think any kid who's trying to escape their reality, they find a new place to go to. So every generation has that new place, right? And for me, at least, millennials, it was the online world.
I feel like blogging is a real deal. People say Vine is like the mother to YouTube, but I also think like if you can do blogging.
Oh, yeah. Blogging is a sketch before it becomes a movie.
Yeah.
That's how I see blogging. So I had my start on blogging and I had a pretty big community. I had like 20,000 subscribers on my blog.
That's amazing. How did you grow that?
So after I graduated from high school, I took I took that semester off where I didn't enroll in college. I decided, let me just play with this online thing and see where it goes, and then next year
It's where your curiosity came
I'm
in.
like, I'm gonna go and do this open world thing. So I decided that one summer in 2005, I would post once a week on my blog. I would come up with different ideas. Like first it was just showing people how to draw or skincare or just taking them with me to church. There was no branding. I was just the everyday girl, but I created a persona of the girl I wanted to be. And that girl was someone that I aspired to be. And in a way, people online, they wanted to be friends with her. That was the concept. I want to create this persona where everyone wants to be friends with her. She's that cool Asian girl, but not at that time. It was popular for Asian girls online to have this aesthetic. I don't know if you remember Tila Tequila or import models. You might be a little too young to know that, but maybe you can look it up on the podcast or while you're editing, or people in the comments are like, yes, Michelle, we know what you're talking about. And I'm thinking like, that's a hot look that should come back. Like that whole hot import model look was actually it's pretty fire.
That was your vibe?
That was not my vibe. I was actually going to be the exact opposite of that. So when I saw, that's the thing that a lot of people love seeing, because I'm an Asian girl. I knew my power online at a very young age. I went to this online chat room. My name was like Asian Baby Girl something, right? We all had
Wait,
stupid...
you started ABG too?
But it was something like that. It was just AOL chat rooms. But then I just saw so many guys wanted to talk to me. And I was only 13. I'm like, why are so many guys wanting to talk to me? I didn't understand at that time that there was this thing where if you're an Asian girl, you get a lot of attention.
Really? I thought it was just like being a girl in general.
Well, being a girl, but I think like just from my perspective, like the moment I would have the word Asian, it would go crazy. But if I didn't have the word Asian, it didn't go crazy. So that's why I branded myself Rice Bunny, because it's cute.
It is so
It's cute. It's wholesome. That was the idea. It's like, I'm kind of like the nerdy, sweet, wholesome girl.
It's very true to you. Yeah.
Well, it is. It is. And that was kind of my brand in a way, was a very wholesome, creative, nerdy girl who played games and would draw. And that was the persona I created. And I had so many followers, and how I grew. So that to answer your question, that one summer, all I would do for every person that left me a comment, I would go on their blog and I would read their blog and leave a comment for them.
That is so smart.
And that's what I did. And
that is so smart. It's like engagement and community right from the start.
But I didn't realize what I was doing. I just knew, if I connect with them, they're going to just continue connecting with me. That's how it is. And I just kept doing that until it got to a point where it was too much. I didn't have time to do it anymore. But I remember I would tell myself, it won't take that long. Just go and like 500 comments. It's not going to take long. Just do 20 every hour. And I would just do that. I would just go.
You're a hustler from the start.
But I didn't make money off of that. But I knew intuitively somehow this would pay off. The influence of it, somehow it would pay off.
That's very smart strategic thinking. I think you've been a long-term thinker ever since the very start, which is very, very rare because people often optimize for the short-term reward.
Of course. People love that.
But you always optimize for brand and the trust.
Yeah, I think about longevity, and I do care a lot about that. But I think it's because maybe that's a value I care about. Like whatever I made online, it was something I would want to consume for myself.
Yeah.
Daenerys Targaryen, the Khaleesi and mother of dragons.
So I would never put anything out that I wouldn't want to enjoy myself, or else why add more noise out there, right? So I would spend that whole summer growing, and then I became the number 1 most subscribed girl on Zynga. Even the CEO of Zynga reached out to me and said, hey, we're experimenting with live streaming. And this was around the time Justin TV came out. So Zynga wanted to get into live streaming. They wanted to give me a laptop with like a Wi-Fi thing connected to it with a backpack. And I just thought, wow, the CEO of Zynga, this is so cool. Wow, I'm a somebody,
Yes. That was your initial taste of fame at 13?
It was at, I would say, 13 was when I experimented with a bunch of blogs, but the Rice Bunny blog, that was around 17.
That's still very young.
17. So that was my fun little side quest thing I did. And then I enrolled in college, and I was given a MacBook Pro like the one you have right there. It was donated. First time ever, anonymous donator, donated only to freshman students that year. So had I gone to college the year I was supposed to, I would have never gotten that laptop. And that was the one that brought me onto YouTube. Isn't that crazy? So if I actually enrolled when I was supposed to, I would have missed out on the greatest opportunity of my life.
And then we would have missed out on the whole creator economy.
Who knows? Well, I'm sure someone would have figured it out, but it wouldn't have been as a cool story like me.
That is true. But I also think like you were ready for this opportunity. Like you were prepared to meet luck and make it into something.
There's that quote that I love, which you illustrated beautifully. Luck is preparation meets opportunity.
Absolutely.
And that's exactly what happened. And it wasn't just that. It was a rejection that pushed me to just keep trying. So I tried to work. I was applying for a job. I needed a job. And I really wanted to work at a cosmetic beauty counter. So Dillard's at the time, I think they were looking for a sales associate at Lancome in Tampa, Florida. So,
this is such a good story.
Yeah,
I feel like it's almost like a revenge plot in a very satisfying way. It's like hero's journey. Yeah.
It's even better. It gets even better. So went there because they were looking for a sales associate. They loved me. I passed the test. I showed them my artistic skills with makeup. I'm very good at it, right?
Yes.
And I got the call back and they said, I'm so sorry. Unfortunately, you don't have the sales, you don't have experience in selling anything, which is true because I've only been either a waitress or a hostess or I worked at a nail salon at my mom. So I never had experience as a sales associate, and I was only 19. I was only 19 at that time too, so I looked like a baby. And I think they were looking for very sophisticated women, at these counters. And I was so sad. But then I remember thinking, you know what? Like, I'm just gonna go ahead because I still had some of the Lancome makeup with me. I'm like, I'm gonna just do a makeup tutorial. So I opened my laptop. It was something I wanted to do for fun. I wasn't trying to do it as a revenge. I was taking this rejection and I wanted to cheer myself up. And instead of wallowing in my sadness, I decided, let me take this feeling of rejection, which I do not like, as someone who loves winning and being number one. Like, I don't like rejection. So I'm going to take this and transmute it into art.
That's powerful though. Instead of just like wallowing it in this emotion, you let yourself process it and then still act. Yeah. Despite the uncomfortable emotion.
Yeah. I almost wanted to prove to the women, I can sell makeup if I wanted to. I'm going to show people how they can do their makeup. So I filmed my everyday natural makeup tutorial and I had 3 versions of that video. And I had 3 versions.
You were a true marketer. You were
A/B testing.
Yes.
Yeah, I was doing A/B.
Wow.
So I had one version on Zynga.
Okay.
And I had the version I thought was the best on YouTube. And the next day, I went on my Zynga. It was the #1 video on Zynga. And I went on YouTube. It was the #1 video on YouTube.
I love how you
insane.
even posted like different versions on different platforms.
Yes. Yeah, just to see. And was just blown away by the reception. And I think that was the confidence I needed to give me a new spark in life. And that was making videos. Because I just focused on blogging. Wait, when did you first go online?
I made my very, very first video last year of college. And then I stopped for an entire year until starting YouTube. Yeah. I spent 4 weeks editing a video that was 4 minutes long. And I was like, by the time I learn how to edit, I will be 40.
Holy crap. Is that video on YouTube?
I unlisted it. Yeah, privately.
I've also unlisted a lot of old videos too, girl.
I was gonna ask, like, you must have made
tons
of videos.
I think my YouTube channel has over 1 billion views, and these are real views. You know how
I have the stats. I read the stats.
They're real views, but it was a different time back then online.
No, I read that like back in the day when you had your Barbie transformation video. I believe it's like 69 million views.
Are you serious?
Yes.
I totally forgot about that
Let
video.
me cross check. Yes, 69 million views. And it was uploaded at a time when YouTube only had 25 million monthly users.
That's it?
Yeah.
Why did it feel like so much more?
You broke the internet. You probably broke their system.
I was on the front page for quite a few days, I remember.
Yeah.
I remember back then on YouTube, the front page, because Google just bought it, but you could just tell they were probably, it's not like they have hundreds of them, maybe thousands of employees like they do. On the weekends, they would not change the front page. And so I would upload a video on a Thursday night. So the next day on Friday, I'm on the front page and then I'm there for like 2 extra days. That's what I did.
That's a hack.
And one time, because they show like most viewed video that day, most liked, most commented, right?
Oh,
They
wow.
would categorize it like that. So imagine, and this is what I wish we can bring back. Imagine that was literally what everyone saw. The most viewed video that day was this video. The most commented was this video. So one time I think I had 3 spots all at the same time.
You dominated YouTube.
Well, I just kind of broke the algorithm.
You broke everything.
But I don't know how to do it now. I mean, I would have to go back in. But
their back-end engineers were probably complaining. It's like, this girl again.
This fucking bitch. She's changing her hair, changing her makeup, but we know who she is.
We know her, and she's using all of our like power sources.
I actually heard someone told me from YouTube.
Yeah.
This was eons ago that this was before YouTube even was profitable. I think they were just burning so much cash and Google was fine funding that. The server cost alone, I think, was over $1 million a month. And this was...
You were probably using 900K.
It was over 10 years. I know, honestly. Thank you, Mother YouTube.
Yes, absolutely. Wow. It's just getting cheaper and cheaper.
You
hopefully.
mean...
The server, maybe.
Maybe, but I've been on Reddit forums of creators. So it's a Reddit forum dedicated to any YouTube creator. And a lot of them are complaining about how their channel is just got removed for no reason. And so they've had it since 2013 or 2008, thousands of videos, but a lot of them don't monetize. And so I'm wondering if this is some weird way to kind of just clean up some of the servers, because I think they do cost a lot of money.
That's true. That is true.
I was doing blogs. I had like GIFs. So I would take a video and turn it into a GIF. And so you would read the blog, you would see the GIF. But I never thought to myself, oh, make a full video. And at the time, it wasn't easy to just upload a video. Like today, you don't think otherwise. But back then, we didn't have the technology and the servers that can just play on the screen like that.
I was going to ask you, as someone who has been in the space for 18 years, how do you see the sustainability of content creation and influencing?
I do feel like in the beginning, it was definitely easier to focus on your craft because you had one platform.
Yeah.
Just YouTube. And then maybe Twitter, right? Facebook. Then Instagram came. Then Snapchat. And then after that, just everything came out, like Twitch. And then TikTok became this massive new machine that now everyone is hooked to. In fact, I think it's grown so fast that it's pretty on par with YouTube when it comes to watch time, if not a bit more. Or at least I know for sure the watch time on TikTok is longer than even Netflix, which is insane. And you can imagine now that you have so much more, not to compete with, but there's just more options now for an average viewer. I feel like to reach a new demographic, to find a new audience, it's harder than it was when I started. But if you focus on a niche and you hyper-focus on that niche, you can do very, very, very well. So that's what I actually teach to a lot of aspiring creators is finding that niche and just hyper-focus on it. Start there first, because then you can always broaden out. But it's really hard to be broad and then narrow in. So the idea is like narrow as much as you can, and then you could start adding things on. But I think today, because everyone is trying to compete for your attention, you have to stand out. How do you stand out? So you need to do something that, in a way, you have to find that niche, because if you like this niche, it's not going to be such a daunting task to upload every day.
That's true.
You know, it's going to be, I wouldn't say fun, but if you love what you do, it's not going to feel so hard and you're not going to burn out as fast. Because burnout is a huge problem in the creator space.
I think
is burnout.
We'll talk more about burnout.
I mean, it was so complicated, but
despite its complications, so many people loved it and saw it.
And they saw it. And this to me was telling me, okay, blogging is not the cool thing anymore. The new thing is videos. Wow. So at that time, I remember like my blogging friends, who we were all kind of famous bloggers in that community, they just saw that I kind of just stopped posting on Zynga and I was posting more on YouTube, and they were trying to figure out like, hey, what about, you know, like you're still going to post on here? I'm like, no, I'm here. This is where it's going.
Incredible. I think a lot of time entrepreneurs and founders have a hard time really deciding between which path to take, like either continue going, pushing forward, or pivot. And you've always had a strong sense of like what to do next.
Yeah, well, it's definitely guided by my hunger to just grow. Because I don't like the idea of being bored. I actually can't even imagine being bored. So for me, the moment I feel like, oh, it's getting boring, that's an invitation for me to try something else. This was why I loved the video format so much, was because at that point I was blogging for 4 years. So what more can I do with it? I felt creatively, I was very limited in my storytelling ability. And video is so much better because you have the video, the visuals, you have the audio. So people were able to hear my voice for the first time. They never heard it before. They're like, oh my gosh, you have a great voice. So I'm like, oh, that's what you sound like. Oh my gosh. And it's crazy to think about that. You know, imagine reading someone's blog that you follow for years and you've never heard them. And then you hear them for the first time.
Have you ever had to apply your mascara on and something goes very, very wrong?
It was kind of mind-blowing for so many people.
So true.
So it's really interesting, this whole like experience.
Wow. And I also think like something important to point out is that some people might say, oh, Michelle Phan instantly blew up on YouTube. She was a natural. But don't forget about the 4 years of compounding and the blogging. Nothing's ever an overnight success, I feel like.
No, I was trying to be famous on MySpace too. And I realized I hit my limit because MySpace was a platform that was better for a certain type of persona that could blow up, like a very loud persona. And also it was very music oriented. So that's why you had Tila Tequila and like a lot of these very eclectic, eccentric personas that did better on MySpace. And I decided, okay, I won't grow on MySpace. I'll just stick to Zanga because Zanga has this more wholesome type of aesthetic and vibe and community. But then when YouTube came, it was like this beautiful blank canvas. And I loved it. I got to paint on.
And really like shape the structure and the future of.
And the fun thing is, you know, the whole category of beauty guru?
Yeah.
Does anyone ever know where it comes from? Like, why do they call them beauty guru? It's because on YouTube back then, when you started your channel and you were uploading videos, before doing so, you had to pick a genre that you were under. So there were music artist, I think there was comedian, and there was like a few other things, and then just guru. So there was no beauty. So I remember looking through it, I'm like, okay, I'm not music. I'm definitely not comedian. I'm not this or that. All right, guru is the closest thing. Bloop.
And guru
the
you
beauty,
are.
Well, beauty guru became the standard of that category.
I want to go deeper into the beauty guru evolution and talk about more about the Lancôme revenge story. But before that,
you're so funny. I want to call it a revenge story. I love Lancôme.
I call it a revenge story because it's so aspirational. It's like you get rejected once, but it's such a blessing in disguise that you get rewarded for your consistency and your creativity in another form, outsized return.
I tell that to people all the time.
Consistency is truly the secret sauce to all success, and the habits you build will either make or break you in the next 10 years, which is why you see me drinking my Salute hydration mix when I film and when I edit. It's the reason I rarely get sick. I kid you not, this is something I recommend to every single person I love and care about, which includes you. So good. If you also hate every single electrolyte you've tried, you need to try Salute. I'm drinking my guava one that kept me on my A game in this 3-hour-long shoot with Michelle. And just restocked on mango chili lollipop, hibiscus, passion fruit, horchata, cucumber, and pineapple. I always bring 30 sticks with me when I travel, and everyone always steals them because they're so good. And the best part is, its immunity blend saved me more than once from getting a cold. With 0 artificial colors or dyes, this is something I've been drinking for the past 8 months. I'm actually so passionate about this that I reached out to the founders directly, and they are thrilled to give 10% off to our community with code ZOE10. Again, this is the first electrolyte I tried after 8 major brands that I actually like and I'm proud to share. So use ZOE10 and try for yourself. Let me know what your favorite flavor is.
Sometimes rejection can be the best blessing. It's really just how you see it. And I'm so grateful that I was turned down that job offer because I probably wouldn't have had time to post videos on YouTube because I would have been working so much and have long hours and then college and back to being at the counter. I wouldn't have time to be at home and edit.
Yeah. And were they also your first sponsor?
So they were. So here's where the story goes. So 2007, I post a video. 2009, so 2 years later, I get an email from Lancôme, official Lancôme, and it was the VP of PR wanted to speak to me on the phone. She saw my video. I featured Lancôme, and she just wanted to connect with me. So I responded to her, so excited, gave her my number. We set up a call. And before doing so, I remember looking up her email. Is this the real Lancôme one? So I would copy the email and just remove her name and then just paste Lancome-usa.com, and it was real. I'm like, okay, this is real. This is not spam. I was savvy back then.
I'm glad you're savvy.
Always, because I knew about the spam emails and all that before. I mean, it's still bad today. I can't even imagine.
It's terrible.
I know.
Was it bad back then too?
Of course, it's always been bad. It's always been bad, but I think it's worse now because people are so smart. But I had a call with her, and I was very nervous, and I remember trying to speak in like a professional voice,
Oh, yes.
And she was lovely, Carrie Diamond, bless her soul. I always tell people she is the one that truly was ahead of her time. Because at that time,
no brands were spending on quote unquote influencers or creators.
No, but they were spending a lot on YouTube. So Lancome, they were spending, I think they had allocated a budget of like $100,000 making their official Lancome YouTube channel and all these tutorials with their top makeup artists and top models. Like that's not cheap to run these things and, to produce it, edit, upload. And they were so proud of it, and they posted it on YouTube and no one saw the darn thing. Like it had like 500 views, and then Carrie's scratching her head asking like, what is going on? How do I crack this code? Let me go home and research it.
So smart.
So she came home, she typed in Lancome makeup tutorial or something, Lancome makeup. And at that time, the algorithm would show the most viewed video. If you type in anything, it is the most viewed video. And it was all me. So she saw like, how did this girl get 800,000 views or 1 million views and using Lancome? And she was just shocked at like how I was showing like a beat up looking eye primer. It was just gross looking, but it was used. And just that concept just blew her mind. Like they would never have something like that in their ad campaign and
it's
stuff.
Always
right?
like polished.
It's like not even real.
The real perfect.
You have like someone on there that's spraying sweat on the can, just to, I've experienced that on a Dr. Pepper commercial. You had a guy, his job is to make the can look as cold as possible.
Or they like have this slicer thing for the burgers. So it looks perfectly bitten.
Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about. Love watching those videos. But she just couldn't believe it. And so when we got on a call, it was such a delight. She wanted to fly me up to New York. And I was like, oh, I'm a big girl now going to the Big Apple.
Wow.
From little old Florida, Sarasota, Florida to the Big Apple. Flew up there, met the president of Lancome USA, met with her, and they wanted to sponsor me. And so they gave me a number, and at that time it was such an insane number. I was like, what? This is crazy.
Do you remember what it was?
It was $5,000 a month, but for me, that's life-changing money.
Absolutely.
But today, $5,000.
Were you making money at that time from YouTube?
AdSense was still not hitting it yet, but I was doing a good like $2-3 a month off of AdSense alone. Wow. So with $5,000, I was like, wow, maybe I can move out of this apartment and rent a nice townhouse for my family to live in so we can all live in it together. Because at that time, my mom was renting out one room in this house. They had no money. And my brother was staying in that one room with her. And during the summer, if I'm not in college, I would also stay in that room. So all three of us lived in one room. That was my life. And we had sleeping bags on the floor. We didn't even have a proper bed. It was crazy.
Did your audience know about this?
No, they don't know about this. I was too ashamed to show it to them. And I was ashamed to show them I was poor because I felt like no one's going to want to aspire to be like this. And also, I was poor my whole life. And so there's a lot of like unworthiness that comes from that. And the desire to get out of that place of this economic situation that I was in and to be in a higher status was an aspirational dream of mine, to just escape that.
Security overall. Is that why you wanted to be famous with MySpace and everything?
I wouldn't know if that's why I wanted to be famous, because at that time, well, then again, you're right. I remember Tila Tequila on MySpace. She had a reality show. She was making money. So yeah, in a way that kind of showed me, oh, okay, internet fame can bring, lucrative opportunities. So why not try this? But I wasn't trying to become famous. I wanted my art. So originally, I wasn't even trying to become a beauty influencer. I went to art school. I wanted to use my skills to show companies, hey, hire me, because I'm an artist and I can do social content.
It was your art portfolio just online.
It was my portfolio. Okay. I wasn't even thinking about becoming famous because, I don't know, I'm very shy.
I was going to say,
that's not my persona.
I remember we talked about this and you never really wanted to be in front of the camera.
No. And if I did, it had to be in my own terms. That was the idea. So that's why for me, when I saw like all of these like people like Tila Tequila, Kim Kardashian, they had reality shows, I just knew it wasn't for me. Like, that's not me. I know that's
a
not
lot.
me. I'm something else. I don't know what that is, but I'm going to find out what that is.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, so the Lancome thing, they were my first sponsors. And the irony is that
$5K per month for
5K
like a whole year.
I was so excited, right? I made my announcement video. Hey, everyone, I'm going to be the official online brand ambassador of Lancome.
Amazing.
Everyone's like, Michelle, you sold out. You sold out. Everyone ripped me to shreds. I was so traumatized by that experience at that time.
How did you deal with it? That was basically the first online cancellation.
I guess,
right?
but like it's crazy. Like this was when cruelty-free makeup trend was very like people were learning about it, they're becoming passionate about it.
Gotcha.
And because Lancome sold in China, and at that time, if you had a makeup brand in China, you would have to test on animals. I don't know if that's true. I've never fact-checked that, but that was the narrative back then. So because I was supporting a brand that was selling in China, which means I indirectly support animal testing, I was getting canceled.
Oh no.
So imagine how I felt. I felt
so
so defeated. And so
scary.
that created my first trauma online of I'm ashamed of being sponsored. I'm ashamed of making money off of this, which is crazy because now I know my self-worth. Now I know, heck yeah, I should have demanded for way more money. Because think about how much these brands pay to be on the back of a magazine cover.
And you probably
70
sold
grand.
so much more. The earned
I
media
sold
value.
so much money.
And how evergreen that video asset is up to this day.
Up till this day, that was the best marketing budget. That was probably the best marketing expense that they made.
Yeah, their
honestly.
ROAS are probably like...
ROAS is like definitely more than 2. So that was the beginning of me being this person who was not used to this fame, who wanted to be a people pleaser, seeing everyone was upset that I was being sponsored. I put this pressure on myself because I signed a contract. I couldn't do anything about it. Right. I decided, okay, I'll make more videos that are not sponsored, and I'll just have one sponsored video.
What was your uploading schedule? Because you were...
Every week.
You were very consistent.
Active, yeah, every week, once a week.
How long did it take you to create those videos?
Days.
Because they were very creative.
It was very creative, very elaborative.
I was like, the ideation probably took you days already.
I loved it. I can't even give you a time of how long it would take. All I know was the moment it was done and exported, I just couldn't wait to upload it. And then when it's being uploaded, I'm like, oh, I need to think of a title for this. Oh, I need to make a thumbnail. And it's just this cascading of never-ending work.
That's very interesting. So
you get it though, right?
Yes. But also, to some, it sounds like, oh my gosh, this is a never-ending trap. But for us, actually, like, it makes me happy to restart the cycle again and to restart something new. I think that's the magic of creativity, where you see something come from nothing. And the moment you hit publish and you come up with a thumbnail, you're like, wow, this came from thin air.
Yep.
And that's my baby.
It is. This is going to be seen by people who really needed to watch it.
Yeah.
So that's why I loved it. I loved this new renewal of purpose. Because originally, I just wanted to work as either a graphic designer, an illustrator, and then somehow I was swept into this new world that was unpaved, new territory that I was blazing the trails of.
You really were. You weren't just creating videos, you were creating the path forward.
Yes, yeah, I really was, because whenever YouTube would have a major upgrade to their platform, for example, I remember when they went to HD. Now you can upload YouTube videos in HD. I stopped using my MacBook Pro camera. I was like, all right, I'm going to upgrade my camera then. Okay, so I went to Best Buy and I bought a new camera and I learned how to use it, and I learned how to edit even better. So whenever YouTube upped their game, I would have to up my game. I would try to match YouTube. And at this point, YouTube was still seen as, it's a weird place online with all these. Right? It was very lowbrow. It was not high quality, but I wanted to prove everyone wrong. So this is why I put so much time and effort into creating really beautiful, story-driven tutorials, just making beauty and the experience of learning makeup a delight and not just a boring standard clinical thing. It felt like an experience, and I loved it so much. And it really felt like I was doing art. So I went in thinking, I want to do this for a living, and then somehow I get swept into this new world where I follow my bliss. I follow my passion. I follow what gives me energy. What gave me energy was creatively pushing myself.
Gotcha. And was it just makeup or the overall process of creating something new?
It was the overall process of creating something new, but I knew my niche was in beauty. I just knew people preferred my beauty videos more because I would also look at my analytics. And
I think I've seen your outfit videos, right?
yeah, so I tried that, but I knew I'm not a fashion girl. That's not me. And at that time, fashion was still in blogging. It was still not on video yet. Like, no one figured it out yet. But I think now it makes sense that fashion does better in video because now we have vertical. So vertical looks better in fashion, but back then it was just widescreen and just fashion just didn't translate. What translated really well on YouTube was vlogs. It was the videos I was making, which is just story-driven, creative, like good edits, good music. You know, these videos were like 10 minutes long. They were long videos.
Very long.
That's a long
back
makeup
then.
Tutorial. Because today a tutorial is 30 seconds.
Oh my gosh,
Back
yes.
then, mine were like 5, 8 minutes, 12 minutes if it's like a Halloween video.
Did you look at retention? Did they give you that data?
Of course, yeah. So the interesting thing is people would watch the first 30 seconds, skip straight to the middle to watch where I'm at, and then go straight to the end.
That's so funny.
Which makes sense. And now on TikTok, you see the retention is high because it's only like 15, 20 seconds. They watch the whole thing. But back then, I don't think you could have just uploaded a video that short and it wouldn't have done that well because I think you need a certain time period to hit the AdSense to make money.
Oh, it was like that since then.
It was. Yeah, because they had to put in ads and everything. Yeah. So I was there in the beginning too when a lot of YouTubers were complaining, they want to put pre-rolls. They want to put pre-rolls before our videos. We can't let this happen. And
They were angry.
Of course, but then we don't even think about it now. Now it's like, okay, just skip. You know? And the irony is that this helps us make more money, but it's so crazy to see. I think what this teaches me too is people are so resistant to change.
Yes.
Right?
Every time like YouTube or Instagram, for example, Instagram grid, people hate it. Now you don't hear anything about it.
That's true. That's true. Even with Reels, like everyone hated, but go back to old Instagram with photos.
We miss Instagram.
I'm like, I actually like Reels. I like videos. I'm a video girl, so give me videos any day.
Yeah.
I love a good carousel, but give me a video. I'm a video girl. And I was really built to be in this world because this world is constantly changing and I love it. I love the invitation to grow and evolve and change with it.
That's beautiful. And I love how you were very data-driven since the beginning. You have the intuition of an artist, but also the analytical mind to act and make strategic decisions as a marketer. So props to you. Wow.
I mean, I didn't know what I was doing, honestly, girl. I was just following my intuition. I wish I read marketing books back then. I wish I took a class.
You can't learn marketing through a class or a book.
Really?
Okay, funny story. This is like
because don't you have a marketing degree or
no? This is a good story.
Okay.
The real deal is I have background in marketing, but the only reason I was able to get my experience in marketing in big tech is because of YouTube. My background is more economics and finance focused.
Okay.
I pivoted from finance or like financial services to marketing because I made this whole spiel about how I built a personal brand from scratch on YouTube. And YouTube was the only reason I was able to pivot into marketing.
Wow.
I learned all my marketing from experience by being a growth marketer and doing media buying and also just running a personal brand. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, I really believe the best way to learn is hands-on experience.
Because I was talking to a friend who was, majoring in business and he was having a focus in marketing. I'm like, that's so fascinating. UCLA doesn't really have a lot of courses. Actually, we didn't have any. And I was like, what do you learn? He's like, oh my gosh, such a waste of money. They are teaching us how to build a Facebook page. And I'm like, Facebook? This was 2021.
Wow. Wait, that's late.
It's so bad.
That is bad. Okay.
Yeah. So don't learn your marketing through books. Well, books could help. I do love a good timeless marketing principles book. But I would say you can't learn without experiencing it.
I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the best way to learn because there's consequences to experience.
Yes.
You can't learn if there's no consequences.
That's true. What is one of the earliest lessons you learned, a mistake or something you would have done differently?
Gosh, girl, I have so many. I have a freaking lot. I mean, the list would just go on. We could do a whole series on Michelle's mistakes.
Oh my God.
Michelle's mistakes because I'm a pioneer.
That is true.
I'm just being hit with things all the time. Literally
I think
in every direction.
I'm speaking on behalf of other people, but I'm so grateful that you really paved this path. For example, nobody gets sued by a record label company today because you went through that process. Like earlier in the days, you put so much work and effort into making the production good, which involves good music.
Yeah, and I got permission from the artist, but I didn't know I needed clearance from publishers, which wasn't even available on YouTube at the time. Even YouTube's like, oh, oops.
Right now, like every YouTuber or content creator knows about copyright strikes and so on, but nobody has ever gotten to the extent where they've been sued.
Yes, yeah.
By these like
that
music
was scary.
labels. Yeah,
it was like $8 million or $7 million, but then I we settled outside of court. It was bad management on management side. It definitely could have not have escalated that far.
I would have been so scared.
I mean, I was, but I guess I'm just built for this. I actually thought about this the other day. I had a really deep conversation with my mom, who she escaped Vietnam during the war when she was only 14.
Wow.
So she experienced real stuff, like people shooting at her, like escaping on a boat, everyone dying, like around, like on the shoreline. If they weren't on that boat, they were most likely dead because there was a fire in the jungle. There was like napalm being dropped. I mean, it's crazy what my mom experienced. And I think epigenetics-wise, I've inherited this weird survival mentality of it doesn't matter what happens, just keep moving forward, keep moving forward, keep moving forward. Don't let anything stop you. Keep moving forward. So I'm very much resilient. I'm very resilient. I'll just keep going. I don't know if that's a good thing necessarily too, because I could be in that position when it comes to like being in a bad place, like being in a toxic environment or relationship, friendship, whatever it is, right? I will just relentlessly try to make it work.
Yeah.
And I had to learn just in the past 5 years of doing a lot of like deep work, just understanding my values and just lovingly grow. And sometimes that means letting go of things that just don't align with who I am today. Yeah, so very resilient, but there's a good and bad to that.
I feel like every like weakness could also be a strength and vice versa.
For sure.
Yeah,
for
you
sure.
need that resilience.
We were just
in
talking about
entrepreneurship.
this, right? Like sometimes in a relationship, I become either the caretaker, and the Jungian shadow side of that is I become the enabler. So I'm learning all this now. I wish I knew this in my 20s, but see, that's the thing is, in life, you have to make all the mistakes in your 20s. So when you're asking me, what are some mistakes? I'm like, girl, so many. I would say the biggest mistake, or a lot of the mistakes I've made, is I would just listen to too many people.
Oh.
I would empower too many people that are not at a level that I should have asked. So for example, and not to be demeaning or anything, but I would ask someone who are only in broken relationships, relationship advice.
Oh,
right?
my gosh,
You know what
yeah.
I mean? That would be an example of what I'm trying to...
And people really love giving unsolicited advices.
Oh, totally.
Even though sometimes they don't have the essential, like, I would say, list of traits to give you that advice or experience.
It comes from insecurity. So now when I receive unsolicited advice, I know, I triggered something in them. So they feel like they have to say something to me, but it's really for them to hear. So I just let them say it. And I'm like, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
But I knew that was for you, not for me.
Exactly. Advices are interesting because a lot of the time the advice giver has a completely different context.
Totally.
Even though their interests might be aligned. And a lot of times their interests might not even be aligned.
Yeah.
So that's even scarier.
Yeah.
Competence and the level of value alignment are so key.
Yeah. That's why I love AI, because now I can just ask endless questions and I just get a raw, real answer. Unbiased sometimes, like, hey, okay, think like this. What would you say? So, but back then, a lot of my mistakes were made from taking advice from people who I shouldn't have taken advice from. And I should have just listened to myself, because clearly when my intuition and my logic, my mind, they are coherent, I make the best decisions. Like a lot of the good decisions I made in life came from a place of clarity. And I think a lot of people feel this way too, like even you, right? We have imposter syndrome.
Oh, yes.
I was struggling with imposter syndrome, so I had a lot of self-doubt. So that self-doubt was an invitation for me to seek advice from other people that might not have given me the best advice. And I would just listen to it.
That is hard. Speaking of other people, how early did managers and agents come into the picture?
Very early. So
Were they
early.
like, this is a precious talent, let us take her on? Were the terms favorable to you, and did you have good guidance?
I think a lot of them tried their best.
Okay.
But I'm not a talent. That's the truth. I'm not a normal talent. I think I was too much of a big thinker for them to really help me achieve the vision I had in my mind. And also, there were a lot of deep insecurities, because something I've learned too when it comes to management in general, or just not management, just people in general, is you never want to partner with someone who's desperate for money.
That's such
because
good
when they're
advice.
desperate for money, all they think about is short-term gains. They don't think about long-term gains.
They're playing a different game from
and
you.
They just think about, I just want my 20%. I just want my 20%. I just want my 20%.
That's very scary.
When sometimes it's actually better to not take on this deal, so I have free time to build something that I have 100% of. And then maybe if this manager built this with me, I can give them a percentage. They don't think about that. They just want immediate, instant gratification. Because they do the deal, they negotiate, and then you do all the work.
That's true.
I mean, that's the reality, right? But the idea was that I thought my self-worth was not that great, because I come from a very broken family, and my mom, she still struggles with self-worth to this day because of what she went through with life, the war, losing her mom at such a young age. It's weird because I felt like when I had a lot of people who were helping manage my career, I felt like I was doing things I didn't really want to do.
Oh, wow.
You know, I felt like, oh, I have to do this because this is what everyone's telling me to do. And this is why I loved having my YouTube channel for myself. It was something where I knew this is still mine. But I remember like I had to write a book. Honestly,
You didn't want to write it, huh?
I didn't want to write a book because I remember they're like, yeah, write a book about your life and teaching people. I'm like, I'm only 25. Like, I don't know anything. But
That's very humble of you.
but
You've
it's-
achieved a lot at that time.
It doesn't matter. Like, I mean, I started my channel at 19. I mean, I could write a book now. I
Absolutely.
feel like now, it's
You
like,
have
yeah,
so much
I would write a
wisdom.
book now. But back then, I felt like I had to because they were going to pay me a lot. And my manager wanted me to do it. I'm like, it was a lot of like, sure, why not? It was a lot of that. Like, sure, why not do this? Why not do that? And I think that my focus was spread
I was
too
going
thin.
to ask,
So
yeah.
I wasn't able to laser focus on what I wanted to do. I had too much input from other people. So I'm actually going through a process right now of removing a lot of input in my life. A lot. And,
Good.
which is great.
Reconcentrating focus.
Well, it's great because I have a lot of peace now, because part of what I've been realizing just the past 10 years of my life, I was surrounded by a lot of chaos. A lot of chaos, a lot of personal chaos because of personal things I haven't taken care of. And I know it's all because of me. Because a lot of the problems, whether it's in a relationship, work, friendship, whatever it is, right? It's actually your subconscious self wanting this. It's your subconscious self having you become aware of things you need to learn from people, because maybe that person represented who you were. Maybe this person represents who you don't want to be, right? And it's like all these little buckets. And I wasn't paying attention to that. I was just trying to help people. Because I think for me wanting to help everyone was a way for me to love myself, because I wish I had someone that helped me when I had nothing in the beginning.
Right.
So what ends up happening is when you have unlimited empathy and no boundaries, it's just self-destruction. So the past 10 years was me going through that self-destruction and realizing, wait, why am I allowing this to happen? At the end of the day, I'm not happy. I feel burnt out. Like everyone's bringing drama to my life. I just want peace. And now I'm at this phase of just kind of detoxing, and I am removing myself and trying to bring more peace into my life by just removing all this extra input and stimuli that I just allowed into my life because it was all I knew. You know, my baseline, the thing is, I don't come from a family of show business. You know, my family were immigrants to this country. And also, I lacked a lot of social skills because I was very shy. We moved a lot as kids. So I didn't really know how to make friends. Like my first concept of friends was MySpace friends.
Oh, wow.
That's what I thought friends were. Oh, friends you make online. They're my friend. So naive. I didn't know what real friendship was. Because when people ask me, oh, who are your childhood friends? I actually don't have any.
Wow.
I have no childhood friends. I mean, I have friends I made in high school, but I just see them at school. I don't really do anything with them outside of school.
Got it. It was never a deeper connection.
Never. So I was constantly seeking that, when deep down I should have just went more within me rather than...
You were a child too. It was
Of
hard
course,
to
we don't know.
understand.
We don't know these things, but it's part of the journey of learning about yourself and self-discovery. And me being this online persona was also a way for me to discover who I wanted to be, who I thought I should be, and also who I thought society wanted me to be. And now I'm at this stage of removing all the filters of what I think everyone wants me to be. And I'm just going to be me. again. Like back when I started from the beginning.
I'm sure it's like words cannot do it justice of what you have to overcome. It's just like knowing you personally, I know how much you've been through and how much transformation you're going through right now. And I just want to like also emphasize the fact that because this is a channel that wants to empower more young women to tap into their unlimited potential and not be scared of business and finances, and for all of us to kind of tap into more of our financial freedom, I do want to give you credits that despite so much chaos going on, you were the one who changed the destiny of your family. You literally moved your family away from that one bedroom to a secure home, to then like allowing everyone to have a more comfortable living, right? And you also helped a lot of your family members with their careers in a sense, in terms of direction and helping them tap into their talent. So I think that's just something really phenomenal that you did that shouldn't be taken lightly.
No, I appreciate it. I do. And it's true. My dream when I was a child was to buy my mom a house. That's why I wanted to work so hard, because she never had a home. She never really had a home. We moved like 1 year when we were kids and my father gambled our rent money. We moved like 10 times in 1 year. So I went to 10 different schools. That's why my childhood's a blur.
That's why you can't have friends.
I don't know how to make friends. That's the thing. I'd never spoke in class and everything.
How about your siblings? Were you close with them growing up?
I'm very close to my brother. And then when my mom married my ex-stepdad, and had my sister, I was a big sister. I was no longer the small one. And so she was kind of like my lesson in a way of just, now I have to take care of this. Before I was the baby. Now I have to take care of the baby. So she taught me a lot about sisterhood and everything. However, I feel like my dream was to buy my mom a house. And so when I achieved it, there was a moment where I achieved everything. And then I did it. I bought her a house, paid it in cash, took her to the house, bought her all this furniture. I was projecting onto her the dream I wanted for her when that's not what she really wanted. All she wanted was just our family to be happy. She always says that, but then I'm like, Mommy, that's so abstract because, happiness is a choice, right? But now I understand what she meant by that. She just wanted peace within our family. But the truth is, I bought her that house. I helped my family with a lot of things, but because my family, even my mom, they're all struggling through their own personal struggles. And a lot of it is in the mind. Yes. A lot of it is in the mind of like self-worth, family members that are in certain situations, relationships, work stuff, right? Where they're just in another storm of chaos.
They're trapped in their own mind prison.
Exactly. They're all trapped in their own prison. And I'm trying to help them break out of it. But I'm in my own prison. So we're all like just broken together.
Also, I think you were trying to help other people before saving yourself first. So that was
the biggest flaw I made in my life was I forgot about myself. I forgot about my dreams. So that's why I just stopped posting. I just slowly forgot who I was because I was taking care of so many people and so many people needed me, and I put their needs before mine, and I became complacent. I became less curious. It was like this flame within me that was the spark, that was the engine that made me this unstoppable force, just slowly went to a stop, and I stalled, and I just accepted, I guess this is okay. I can just chill. I don't need to be like, Michelle Phan making viral videos. I'm okay just staying home, chilling, watching TV, just basically living a very normal, in a way I felt very lazy. And in a way I allowed for my environment to allow me to be lazy. But then I realized I was just allowing other people to influence me to take it slower. But that's not my nature. I'm not like that. Yeah. My real nature is I'm explosive. I'm like a shooting star. I have to go to the other end of the universe to see what's there. That's just who I am. It's my nature. And I think a lot of the people I allowed into my life who were like, well, you made it. Why are you working so hard? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? Just stay home. Just do this, do that. It's like, but that's not me. But then I didn't want to disappoint them. So I just disappointed myself by lying to myself to just be small, to just be chill, to just not be as ambitious. Because life is, when the sun comes up, that's beautiful. That's good enough. I'm like, yeah, that is good enough. And so for the past, I would say, decade, I've just been living basically in a very sweet way. I'm not being mean about this at all. Because I'm sure like I have family members and friends who are probably watching this, but I was gaslighting myself into being okay with this.
You no longer knew what you wanted. taken
what
other
I
people's
wanted.
definition.
Yes, I forgot what I wanted.
I think the most dangerous thing in life is shoulds. Like, you should do this, or like, you should be happy. And what does happiness even mean? Like, happiness should be like this. It's a very dangerous concept.
It is. And this is what happens when you don't have a strong self. I had a strong self, but then I put everyone's needs and self before myself, which I guess I didn't know the byproduct of that will be you just slowly put out your fire. And my fire was fading away, and I was a mess. I was just not happy, and I didn't know what was wrong. But now I'm coming out of it, and I've awakened from this, I would say, coma that I've been in, like some weird existential coma that I was in. I woke up from it recently, and I see everything so clearly, but a lot of the people in my life, they don't see what I see. They're still in that, I don't want to call it a prison. It's not. They're just still in their world. And that's totally fine, but I'm really trying to get to my next breakthrough right now. And something I've learned is the people you keep around you, you have to be careful. You have to be careful. And now
it's like osmosis.
Yeah.
If you don't surround yourself with people who align with your values, your goals, and ambition, you will get sidetracked. It's like you could be the most disciplined
I was derailed.
person.
I wasn't even sidetracked. I was derailed.
Oh my gosh. It's like you could be the most disciplined person, but why put yourself in a room with like, I don't know, 10,000 candies and junk food and starve yourself for days? Then you will motivate yourself.
That's such a good point.
To derail from your goals.
It's exactly what happened. And I have no regrets or anything because actually I wanted all this to happen. I know deep down I wanted all of this to happen and I'm okay with it. But now that I'm awake, I need to make the changes in my life. I need to start changing the monologue in my head. It's just a massive life change. Yeah. But I'm the type of person where I change instantly. But not everyone does that. So that's the problem I'm at right now is a lot of people close to me can't keep up with that. And I'm at this stage in my life where how long am I going to wait for you to catch up?
Life is short.
I don't know. I don't know how long I can allow myself to wait. I've already been so patient for so long. And think about how many of us, we live with so much pressure to make our family feel happy because they want us to live a certain way, or like siblings or relationship or work colleagues, right? I had a few work colleagues. One work colleague was like, why can't you just be okay with making $100,000 a year? Why do you have to like make so much money? And I'm like, why can't I? I'm okay with you wanting to make $100,000 a year, but what if I want to make $100 million a year? What's wrong with that?
Yeah.
And I'm realizing, because I know what they're trying to say to me, which is, why can't you just be happy with what you have? But then I'm asking them, what's wrong with wanting more?
Yeah, I think there's a dichotomy. It's really interesting and nuanced. And I think the internet space sometimes demonizes money.
It does.
And be like, you can't want more.
Yeah.
Which means you're not grateful. I think you could still be grateful and wanting more freedom with the money that comes with it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Because money doesn't buy happiness. Money buys time. Money buys convenience. Money buys options.
Yeah.
And that's actually what I need. I need time. I need options. Because
how's your relationship with money now, and how has it
Oh gosh,
changed?
It was so bad before because I was traumatized around like 8 years ago because I had someone steal so much money from me, millions of dollars from me, and they were on national TV. The media loved him. He was the darling of the media, smiling. He was on CNN, everywhere. And this guy stole millions from me.
Oh my gosh.
And the California bar didn't do anything. They couldn't do anything about it. The police couldn't do anything about it. I just felt like, wow, I pay so much in taxes, and I just felt like the system can't even help me. Yet this guy's on TV being celebrated after stealing not just mine and so many other people. I'm in a line of other people that he is a serial lawyer scammer, but he was like one of the best lawyers in the world. So that was the beginning of my traumatic relationship with money, where I just didn't want to even look at it. I was so scared. And because I didn't want to look at it, other people would then want to do things with it.
Did it make you feel like having money makes you a target for other people with just impure intentions?
Oh, yeah. It's like,
so it's
having a lot of money. I would say not just money. It's having a lot of money and fame. It would be the equivalent of Lord of the Rings, that ring that everyone is obsessed with. And only someone with a pure heart who has it, like Frodo, who doesn't want it, can hold it and not be corrupted by the ring and toss it in the fire. And for me, money was just always a tool to buy convenience. And yes, like there were moments when I did love the power it gave me, you know, because it is empowering when you just go in and buy whatever you want for your mom.
You helped your entire family change its future. Yeah,
of course. But I didn't realize the people that it could attract into my life who were really good, so good at becoming my friend, saying the right things. Part of me wonders till this day, because they were so good and I had to cut a lot of people out. Did they even know? Like, were they even aware that they were seduced by this power? But then they would cloak it with being my friend because maybe there was guilt. You know what I mean? Like, because I still have trouble believing like they were intentionally doing this on purpose versus they were not even aware that this was a desire of theirs. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So it's very complicated. And again, I've always had a trauma with money. The one where the lawyer stole my money was a big trauma, like a newer trauma. But the first trauma was because my father gambled all of our money. So my mom has trauma with money. She would sometimes go into my room when I was a child, give me money to stuff it into my teddy bear because
to hide
the money so my father wouldn't go in my teddy bear and find it. So that was my relationship with money, was this thing is the reason why we're miserable. But this thing is the reason why we need this. So I have a very interesting love-hate relationship back then with money, but today I have a very neutral relationship with it. I see it no differently than a ruler or a pencil. It's just a tool, but I want a really good pencil, you know, to write out my ideas. And so I need good money and I need to know how to use it to make it become the best it can be, which is this could potentially become generational wealth where I have more time and I have more peace of mind because I have longer time frame to think and strategize. I'm not living month to month or day by day. I can project myself more into the future because I have a longer time period that money is able to buy for me. This is really the value of money, in my opinion, is that. Everything else is icing. Like, you want to get a Ferrari, go have fun. Hermes bag, like, you do you. But for me, it's always been buying time.
What's the most amount you've spent on a video? Do you remember?
The most amount
because
I spent
your videos,
on a video.
like, you were one of the first creators who like were willing to invest.
Oh yes, I would say there was this one video called Underneath Your Love. It was like my version of Cinderella, and I worked at a nail salon, met this guy, yada yada. I just loved the Cinderella trope. Always loved it. Who doesn't, right? That I remember I was given 20 grand to make a video. And I put 100% of that money into making that. It's like a mini movie I made. Wow. And then I had like a little ad placement for that manicure gel thing.
Love that.
But it was 20 grand and I spent the whole thing. And that's my problem is I actually don't spend a lot of money on myself. I spend it on other people.
Oh, this is another thing I think nobody knows. Michelle's been wearing like one of the broken shoes for months.
I didn't even know it's broken. Oh my God.
Yeah. She's just like, it's functional. I'll just get by.
Yeah.
Like, she really does not care.
I know.
About
Thanks
these...
for my new boots. She got me new boots.
They look good on you.
And they're not broken. Yeah, that's
yeah,
I gotta fix that.
It was bittersweet to me, and I'm like, how could this person care so much, pour her money, her soul into everyone around her, but she like wears a shoe that has a broken heel. And I was like, girl, you're gonna trip.
I know. Those boots were very high. Like,
they were
very,
cute.
very high.
But,
they were cute,
yeah.
but they were long expired. And I'm telling you, it is my weird, I have self-worth issues. I don't know if it comes from, I know it comes from trauma, but this is it just shows you that even someone like me who has built this amazing platform and I'm known for, you know, when you show the world what you look like without makeup on, millions of people see it and you show how beautiful you become. People would just assume that, oh, she's very confident in herself and she must have a lot of self-worth. And it's not that. I felt comfortable doing that on camera because I really felt like I was speaking to my younger sisters and younger brothers. Yeah. But yeah, I still had self-worth problem like everyone else. You know, I still felt like, you know, weight, like I'm not at my ideal weight. I mean, now I'm in a much better place. I feel very mentally healthy. My physical health is great. But back then, I felt like I was too short. I felt like also growing up in America, and I grew up in places where didn't see a lot of Asian people. There was also like a lot of insecurities about being Asian. It was not cool to be Asian back then. Like now, look at what has happened in media. We don't think twice, but back then I didn't see people who looked like me online, or not online, on TV, in the radio. So yeah, I grew up with tremendous, and I was struggled a lot with self-worth.
Wow. Thank you for being so vulnerable, because I think it will come as a surprise to so many people.
We fake it till we make it.
Because literally, I think you not only influenced a generations of women in terms of like how to be confident, how to do your makeup, how to love yourself more, but also you became the beauty ideal and normalized seeing like an Asian beauty face. And also just, you became the icon of aspiration, which I would assume could also add a lot of pressure towards your internal self-image.
And also to maintain that image. You know, you hear about method actors and how they spend so much time learning about a character and staying in character even when the camera turns off. I'm not saying I even know anything about it. I'm just using that as an example. And it's not just me who says this. A lot of other creators I know with a very strong persona. Yeah. They also agree with me. They also say, I have to maintain this persona, this image. And the image and persona I created, remember when I said, when I first created the persona of Rice Bunny on my Zanga, she was the girl I wanted to be. But I wasn't her yet, but she was aspirational enough to give me the hope to be her. She was my Superman and I was Clark Kent. You know, I wanted to be her. And somewhere along the lines, I thought we became one. But then I guess I was still always Clark Kent for the longest time. And I forgot that I am Superman. Somewhere along the lines of when I just became lost again, I forgot who I was. I forgot what I did. This is what happens when you don't fan that flame of yours, when you put other people's needs before yours, when you don't go through the process in your 30s of healing a lot of the traumas you've had when you were a child. Had I done that work earlier or even spent more time doing it, I would definitely be in a different position now than I am. But regardless, for me, timing is just timing. That's the universe's timing. And I had to learn everything I had to learn. But I'm glad I'm learning it now because I know, because I'm in my late 30s, I just know my 40s is going to be so amazing because I'll actually know who I am. I'll know what my real values are, not what the values everyone's trying to tell me to adopt. Like, these are my values, right? It's part of growing up, and especially as a woman who is in her late 30s and entering into her early 40s, is a lot of it is you coming to terms with letting go of things that don't resonate with your true self anymore. And that does feel like a death. It's a death to an idea of who you were. Sometimes it's a death to friendships or death to relationships with certain family members, you know, or work, colleagues, right? I was grieving a lot. Let's put it that way. I've been grieving a lot because I feel like, well, I could look back at the good memories, but I just know this is not for me anymore. And it's a nice release because I feel like the heaviness of maintaining an image and maintaining, yes, I'm going to be okay with this, when deep down you're not. Like, there's a limit you hit. Yeah. I think there's a tolerance you hit where you realize I can't tolerate this anymore because it's not who I am. So I recommend a lot of people who are entering into their late 20s and 30s, this is really the time where you need to become aware of, just start identifying the patterns in your life. Like, do you tend to put other people's needs first? Do you tend to say yes a lot? Are you a people pleaser? Are you, and everyone's on a different spectrum of this, right? But just identifying what that is. And now with AI, it's like, gosh, I wish I had this when I was young, because there was a lot of stigma with therapists too. I wanted to go see a therapist, but then I had people around me saying, no, don't go. Really? They're going to gaslight you. They're going to trick you. They're going to manipulate you. It's a waste of money. But I realized, no, this person just didn't want me to see a therapist because therapist would wake me up and show me that I'm not in a really good situation right now. So it was a lot of like people controlling me. So that's the biggest theme in my life is growing up. I had this father figure in my life who always wanted to control me, and it was not good. I broke out of that, was finally able to like escape on the internet, created this persona, have my own persona, my own voice, then became famous. And because I became famous and I made money, I started attracting all these people again who wanted to control me. Oh, wow. So it is this theme in my life of everyone controlling me. And it got to a point where, because I was so famous, I made so much money, and everyone's livelihoods depended on my brand and my image, I was controlled.
I couldn't talk about this more. Yeah.
I couldn't say certain things. I couldn't do certain things. And I felt like I was going crazy. And that's why I had to go to a meditation retreat to learn how to meditate. And that was life-changing. But I don't think a lot of people were happy about when I came back and how I had this massive breakthrough of, it was absolute clarity. Like, wow, I get why I am where I am and what happened and everything. And I forgive everyone. And I had this massive breakthrough. And then when I came back to LA with everyone, colleagues and everyone I worked with, publicists and management and all of that, everyone's like trying to suppress me, like, don't talk about it, Michelle. And
what year was this?
2022. And everyone literally thought I was crazy. And it's like, wow, like, I think they're crazy. Like, they're crazy for not knowing, like, what I know.
Feel like being just, like, not trusted by the people you trust the most?
I felt like I got kicked out of the village, and I felt like I needed to go back into the village and pretend to think like everyone else again. So I had to hide this other part of me that I don't share a lot of. And you know this part of me, right, where I'm telling you about like dream journaling and lucid dreaming and consciousness and meditation. And these are wonderful tools that I've learned that has completely changed my life for the better.
They've been so stigmatized.
That's another topic, but regardless, I felt like I was going crazy. Then I put myself back on track. And I still didn't break through yet because I still felt like I had to people please. Mm-hmm. So I thought, okay, my breakthrough got me out of this, but nope, I'm still in it, but I'm not. But now I'm aware. Now I'm aware I am in it. So now I have to figure out how to break through this again.
Gotcha.
So what's great is now I have a therapist, which has been very helpful, helping me really create the tools so that I can make decisions on my own and say yes, say no, walk away, let go, right? Mm-hmm. Because I would feel so guilty. Like, I'm the type of girl where you could stab me in the back, but it's really hard for me to unfollow you.
What?
I know, it's weird, right? It's weird.
Oh my gosh.
You could stab me in the back, but I still won't unfollow you. I might mute you, but I'm like, well, I don't want you to think I hate you because I don't, but I'm really hurt that you stabbed me in the back. And so I will still follow you, but I'm going to mute you because, you fucked me over.
Jeez. How did this translate into the business?
No, the one I really
end?
unfollowed was the guy who stole my money. So that one, I was like, fuck this guy, unfollow. But everyone else because, it's petty. It's like I help certain creators and they just think they're the shit and they just think they're better than me. They don't,
This is another topic I'm super fascinated by. I think you have an exceptional eye for talent. A lot of the people you identified early on, brought on as creators, influencers, artists, they have amazing careers. I think you have just a good eye for talent and for what it takes to be a good entrepreneur or a good artist or creator. What do you think are the essential traits that you might have intuitively identified?
I would say the first trait is they have to be a little fearless, because you can't be holding their hand all the time. So part of that fearlessness is a little bit of delusion, just a little bit.
Yeah.
Because that's what makes an artist really interesting is when they're they're very unhinged,
They have to be in their own universe,
They do.
To not give in to the opinions of like the shoulds.
Right. Another thing I identify is how good their storytelling is and whether that is literally telling a story or how they bring people into their world. Vlogging, like making content, like really bringing them into their intimate world. Their taste. Do they have taste? Because that's very, very important if you want to last a long time. You can go viral, and there's so many people who've gone viral, but then we forget about them because they don't have a strong brand presence. And part of strong brand presence is having a perspective and having taste. What exactly is taste is judgment. Good or bad. That's it. Simple as that. Because AI doesn't have taste. It doesn't judge. It just takes data in, data out. You, as a human, you judge. You can say what's good or bad. Why do I love this light on you so much? Because I love how the shadow is this color blue.
Yeah.
It's my favorite blue color.
Beautiful.
I could have picked any other light, but I wanted this light on you. That is taste. That is branding.
That is branding.
And what is branding is literally like the brand. They brand the animals.
Yes.
To show
cows.
the quality.
Yeah.
That it goes back to that because this is a trusted farm. You brand it to show this is trusted. Taste.
Wow.
Tasty cows.
Yes. So you knew that since the very beginning. Were you ever scared?
I think intuitively. I didn't have the diction or vocabulary to articulate this like I am to you now.
Yeah.
But I just knew. Like I would hear a song, I'd be like, this song is going to blow up. This genre of songs are going to become big.
Yeah.
You know?
Who were some of the artists that you can share that like, or influencers that you identified early on that really took off?
I would say the biggest one, like claim to fame, would be Doja Cat. I discovered her music in 2013, and it was my partner and I at the time, Dom. Like he has a good sense of music. So her song came up and it was playing in the background. I'm like, yo, this is fire. And it was SoundCloud, because we love SoundCloud.
I know.
And
that's when you know how it's good.
Yeah, SoundCloud was such a different place back then too. It was really the place to discover artists. And I just knew like her voice. And then I just went down a rabbit hole of all her songs on SoundCloud. And I told myself, she's going to be the next big music artist. And I told a friend at the time, well, I wouldn't say friend. It was definitely like a colleague, like a distant colleague, but he had access to the top music producers in the world. His dad was a billionaire, yada, yada, yada. It's like, yo, you got to meet up with Doja Cat. I think she's going to be the next big thing. He couldn't see what I saw in her, which is so crazy because I'm like, you're making a big mistake. She's going to be the next big thing. And sure enough, whenever I see her killing it, I always think about that guy. Like, he's probably like, man, Michelle was right. I should have taken a gamble on her because she is a phenomenal artist. I mean, she truly is an artist. I remember I met her just once before this was a long time ago. Put it this way, I think she was underage and she couldn't go into Soho House, so we had to go to another restaurant across the street that allowed, because she was under 21, and we just had a meeting with her. And
everyone's so young, and
she was a baby, but I just knew, but she had an old soul to her. I knew she was an old soul and brilliant. Like her lyrics, I mean, just everything, like her voice, like she knows. She was, to me, back then when I heard her in 2013, I knew she would be the sound of today, basically. I knew she would be the sound of today.
I'm getting goosebumps hearing the story.
Yeah, so she would be like my biggest one, but there's tons of other ones, but not as big as hers. But that is true. Like I do love finding artists because I think I am an artist. And so I love seeking other artists, being inspired by them. And because I always tell people, you know, we create our own meaning to life. Life is actually very meaningless, but we bring meaning to it. And part of the greatest gift we have as incarnated souls is we can create. It is the greatest thing we can do. And if there's anything we should encourage people to do is to create more.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but you were one of the first to coin the term influencer.
I did bring up that term at this, I was invited to speak at this Fortune 500 for top marketing people, what I was doing. And so I had to do basically a TED Talk with the PowerPoint presentation on, okay, this is a creator, this is an influencer, this is a celebrity, what's the difference? And I was breaking down the difference between the three.
Interesting.
And I remember at the time everyone was taking notes and they were just asking me questions. And it was just baffling to me that it was such a new concept because for me, this was so familiar to me. And think about it like this. Who would you trust more for a product recommendation? A billboard, a TV commercial of a celebrity, or your best friend?
Right. It's kind of like if I can't share this product with my sister or my mother, I cannot share it, period.
Yeah.
And that level of trust you have with your community is just so valuable. And you saw that since the very beginning.
Yeah, I guess so. I'm very much a restless spirit. I'm constantly trying to, like before the internet, I would be bored and I would just read the encyclopedia. That's how bored I was.
I read that too. Not even the online version.
Yeah, the real one, the books.
I told my mom, I was like, I think maybe like on an egotistical level, I wanted to look smart. I was like, I want to read all these encyclopedias. Could you buy me the entire collection?
Like I'm constantly so hungry to I'll just open a random page and I'm just learning just a random thing. But my soul was so happy to learn that.
Wow. I think
so the internet, you can imagine, because the encyclopedias I had, my family, we didn't have money. So they're very expensive because you're getting like the volumes. It's like from A to Z of all this information.
Yes.
So we had one from the 70s. And I was reading this.
I feel like that's vintage and more valuable now.
That's true. I remember reading about computers and I'm like, wow, this is so old because the computer I have here, it's clearly not the same thing.
Yeah.
And when dial-up and everything came out, AOL, you pay per hour, and I was able to get all the free hours. The encyclopedia became online, and that was where I felt the most home, was online.
When you were 13.
Yeah.
When you had the conversation of the differences between influencer versus creator versus celebrity, what year was that? And how many years were you into YouTube?
Good question. I think that was I think it was 2013. It's pretty early.
That is early.
Yeah.
And
because I would say it became mainstream, that term influencer, around 2016, 2017.
Yeah. That's crazy. And how did you define each back in the days?
Well,
and has any of the terms changed for you?
No, it still holds. Yeah, it still really holds. Because I was really trying to dumb this down for the people. I'm like, how do I water this very abstract concept that I intuitively know, but I'm trying to teach this to the top Fortune 500 marketing people. And it was tiered in a way where it was a pyramid. So the top one is the creator, not the celebrity, the creator.
Oh, wow.
And the reason why the creator was the top one was they are the true person who's able to take an idea, a concept, and create it, manifest it into this reality. That's what makes them a creator, because they have amazing ideas, imagination, but they also have the ability to create it, to learn it, to make it. Because that's the difference between, I would say, a creator YouTuber versus a actor. Is a creator doesn't have to wait for a role. They will create a concept of a channel. They would become that persona. They would learn how to film, how to edit. Sure, it doesn't look great on the silver screen, but that's not the format and the audience are trying to reach for. Unlike movies, how I see movies and film, it's basically a painting that came to life. That's how I see it. It's something that you experience. Rather, a creator and videos you watch on YouTube, you feel like this is your best friend. This is someone that you really, truly feel connected to, and you're being brought into their world. Yeah. So how I was able to break it down is a creator is basically the highest level of the artist. Wow. They can become anyone. If they want to be a celebrity and be in a movie, they could, right? So a creator creates their own destiny. Then you have the celebrity. Celebrities are those who have talent, but they need a little more help with production. They need a little more help with branding, right? They need a little more help, but they have a talent, whether it's singing, acting. I mean, imagine even like us. We have to do our own makeup.
Yeah.
Right? So a celebrity would, an
our
actor.
Own camera setup.
Right?
Distribution.
We are very much hands-on. And so the celebrity is still high up because we see that they endorse so many things, and it does do well because it gives that brand recognition. Yeah. And then the influencer, how I describe the influencer is what makes them different than creators is they're not creating the trends, but they can influence people to learn about these trends. They are the trendsetters when it comes to, maybe not trendsetters, they are, man, I have to look for that presentation I did. It was so long ago.
That is iconic. But I think it really set the stage for everything that happened the 12 years after,
So the influencers, they are the everyday people. They are the ones who, they own a niche. They own a niche that people really connect to. But what makes them different than a creator is they might not be as creative when it comes to the storytelling. Maybe they're more relatable. Maybe the best way for me to describe this is giving you examples of people.
Yeah, I would love to hear.
So the ultimate creator to me, the ultimate creator would be James Cameron.
Okay.
I think he's the ultimate creator because he's someone who's very hands-on. He knows how to draw.
Yes.
He does the most beautiful illustrations. He knows how to get his hands dirty, and he could do actual practical special effects on set. That's how he got hired, right? Because he's almost like an engineer at the same time. So it's really interesting, but he's an amazing storyteller.
Gotcha.
He creates original scripts and everything, right?
So like creating something from nothing is basically the foundation of a creator.
That is the foundation of a creator. You take something from nothing, but you have the abstract concept, but you can bring it into this reality. And when you see James Cameron today, he makes some of the most profitable movies in the world, but he also is pushing the boundaries and expanding it when it comes to technology, filmmaking, and all of that. It's because of him. So for me, James Cameron is an example of a filmmaker who is a creator. But that doesn't mean all the other filmmakers don't matter. They do matter. But there's levels to this. And so I had to break it down because I felt like at that time, the reason why I wanted to break it down to that audience was a lot of the people had this misconception of what an influencer was. They thought an influencer was just someone who wanted to be famous and just go to Coachella and dress up and live this lifestyle that is not real. And I'm like, that's not true, because you can also see that in celebrities too. That's just, you see that in everything.
Yes.
An influencer is someone who, I think the best way for me to say this, now that I'm really thinking about it, because I do feel like it did change. Now that I'm thinking about it, you're right. It evolved a lot since 2016. Back then, the influencer were people who were aspiring to become creators. And so they would just take the camera and play. It was a way for them to dip their toes. It was a hobby for them. An influencer, they're hobbyists, but a creator, they're the real deal. Like, they're the ones who are going to either create a brand, create a new genre, create a new way of storytelling. A great creator example is Justin Roiling. He's a good friend of mine. I think I've introduced you to him, right?
Yes.
Rick and Morty. Rick and Morty it's a sci-fi comedy animation, but he created a new genre that no one saw before.
Oh, that is true, yeah.
For me, that is the definition of a creator, is they are just pushing the creative limitations. They're pushing the creative canvas, and they're not copying. They're not just taking something and, because this is what I see on TikTok sometimes, because I'm trying to also figure out TikTok sometimes. I'm going on and I'm like, man, I feel old because no, but it's true. I'm sure we all feel that way, where we're the new kid on the block, and then after 10 years, it's like, I'm not the fresh, shiny new kid on the block, and now there's new blocks.
There are new blocks.
There are new zip codes and everything, and there are new kids.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to go in pretending I know things, and when I go on TikTok, I'm like, man, like, I'm not saying it's not hard doing TikTok, but when I think about YouTube was a blank canvas. You would have to literally think about, what am I making? But TikTok, you have all these trends that you can just be inspired by.
The templates
and everything. So it's definitely changed. I don't see it necessarily as a bad thing, because I think it's wonderful that so many people now, they can dip their toes and they can play in this space. I see it like a sandlot. It's a giant sandlot, and they can build little castles and play and have fun. But what makes a creator still different than the influencers on Instagram or TikTok or all that these are the people who have longevity in the space. We should create more so that we have a way to leave something behind before we move on to the next realm. You know, that's how I see it, at least. And so this is why I'm always so restless. People who want me to retire, just go to the Bahamas or sit by the beach. I can do it for like a few days, but then I feel restless. I'm like, you know me, like, I'm always like playing with AI tools, like, look at the song I made, look at this thing I did,
so
you know?
exciting,
And this is what I want to encourage more people to do, because I think when you do that, the more you actually go into the journey of creating, the more you learn about who you are. This is why I love it so much, because I learn about who I am more as I create.
Oh, that's fascinating. Speaking of creating, you not only create a good art, a good legacy, and the whole creator economy, but also amazing businesses that have lasting impacts. Can you walk me through what inspired you to create Ipsy and then Cosmetics, and what was that experience like?
I would say with Ipsy, it was, at that time, no one really understood the monthly subscription concept.
No,
it was
Ipsy
very much
started it all. It was very much like a forerunner as well.
It was the one that did it well. I would say it didn't start. I think the first mainstream one would technically be Birchbox, but before that, there was another one called the Black Bag. It wasn't even a popular website, but you would pay a monthly fee for this little black bag, and then it would be filled with products in it.
Interesting.
I remember seeing that in like 2008, so very early. I started Ipsy in 2011.
Yeah.
But the concept really solidified when I was in Thailand, and I went to, I think it was Siam, the Paragon Mall in Bangkok, and there are kiosks outside the mall, and I saw all these women crowding this one tiny kiosk. And they were just throwing Thai baht everywhere. And I saw they were buying the Estee Lauder serum, the regenerative serum, the La Mer cream. It was all these expensive small samples of the luxury creams and skincare. And I was asking my friend who was Thai, like, hey, why are women buying these samples? And he said, oh, it's because in Thailand, in general, in Asia, if you buy a full-size product in beauty, it could be brand new and you can't return it. It's final purchase. And
those are very heavy investments.
We're so spoiled in America because we can use half the bottle and come back and return it. We get full refund. Like, we are so...
I did not know that.
Well, we are very spoiled.
I never returned anything because I'm like, it's a lot of work.
Oh yeah, that's true too. They do give you a hard time for it, but I mean, it was the reality. So I remember when he said that to me, I thought, that is a good business idea. I'm going to tuck that in the back of my brain behind all the good business ideas I'll probably never do. Because I'm sure
so you had a list of business ideas.
Who doesn't? I'm sure, ask any entrepreneur, and you know this too. We all have in our little secret drawer just business ideas, like bloop, 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 and I just filed it away.
At this time, you were 4 years into YouTube. How was monetization at that time?
This was 2008, so I was 1 year into YouTube.
Oh, actually.
Yeah, this was 2008. 2 years into
when the
YouTube,
idea
one
was
year.
born.
The idea was born in 2010. I met my co-founder, who he's a great operator. I just knew I needed an operator because I can't operate for shit. I'm not an operator. I'm a great creative, not an operator.
This is so key. I think a lot of young entrepreneurs don't really understand that you can't be good at everything. And if you
can't.
If you don't want to pay,
it's okay.
Like you can either pay in time or money for the lack of knowledge.
Yes.
It just depends on what more you have.
That's true.
And it's very smart and strategic you did it this way, that you decided to partner with someone.
Of course. Well, that wasn't my first business. I tried to operate at I had another skincare brand a long time ago.
Really?
Like,
I didn't
it's
know
so
about
unknown.
this.
I don't even want to talk about it. It was so unknown. It was a skincare brand I launched with a Thai chemist, a skincare chemist, and it was actually good. We were making good money, but I was a bad operator, so I didn't want to do it anymore. I had to shut it down, and I knew my weakness. And so when I met with my business partner, felt good about it. We launched Ipsy. Actually, it wasn't called Ipsy. It was called My Glam. And then we changed it to Ipsy. But it was such a brilliant new way for my community and just the beauty space to discover new beauty products and also to have like a fun way to surprise themselves every month. Like every month they would get a fun glam bag and it's $10 a month.
I was so jealous of like the girls. So I grew up
because it was only in America. Yeah.
No. It was, I think it was Canada at
Yeah,
one
yeah.
point.
We did
but
expand to Canada,
I grew up without allowances. Whenever I get money, like from, I don't know, family, friends, my mom would just be like, look, take care of it for you. Actually, I'm thankful because
I was going to say, did you do all the chores for free? You did all for free too? Because that's what I did. I never got allowances either.
Yeah. Wait, I think I got
That's why
paid.
we have good work.
I think I got paid like a few cents, and that was basically it.
Dang.
Yeah, and then my first ever like real job was dishwasher at IHOP.
Oh, wow.
And I worked my way up to a hostess.
Dang, okay.
McDonald's rejected me.
What?
I had a lot of extracurriculars, so they were like, you're not available. Therefore, we can't take you. And I'm like, that's fair. And then IHOP's like, you need a dishwasher. I'm like, I'll be there.
I love this grit. See, this is what makes a good entrepreneur is grit. It's like roll up your sleeves and get your hands literally dirty. Good for you.
I had no allowances. So I see girls in school pulling up their Ipsy bag like, oh, what's in this month? And I was like,
wow.
Yeah, I didn't really get to touch makeup until late high school.
That's crazy. Okay, so you're a late bloomer with makeup.
Oh, late bloomer with everything.
No, that's good though. I think I see so many girls, they're starting makeup a little too early. I think they're a little too early.
Nowadays.
Yeah, they're too young, but you know, it is what it is. But it's like I miss like when I look at my older videos and I was so young, like 19, I didn't even need that much makeup. And I'm so glad I didn't go crazy because I was still able to enjoy my natural youthful beauty. Because now that I'm in my late 30s, like, yeah, I need this concealer. Like, yeah, I need this product.
No, girl, I've seen you without makeup. Always beautiful inside out.
Good skincare, that helps too. But you definitely need more coverage as you get older. I mean, that's just the reality of just aging in general. But yeah, Ipsy was, it was lightning in a bottle. Like I got really lucky, like right timing, right place. Kind of similar to YouTube where if I uploaded 2 years later, it wouldn't have had the same effect. You know, it's really about timing, and that's something no one has control over is timing.
But you were prepared.
I was prepared.
Like,
that's true.
With the previous skincare company, you basically paid all that knowledge debt into what your strengths and weaknesses are.
Yeah,
and you have the actual experience of marketing and building a product to then launch Ipsy. That became a quote-unquote overnight success.
Oh, it was definitely a win. Like a lot of people, when they think about my career trajectory, they see all my wins. But before Ipsy, I probably had like 10 L's before that, you know. I mean, I can't think of them off the top of my head, but yeah, I would have like 10 L's. And that's why it's important for you to just never give up, because you can have 10 L's, but all you need is one win, just one W, and that can carry the rest of the L's. Because it's really when you lose or quote unquote fail, that's when you really learn the most. You really learn the most about your failures, not much about your wins. I mean, winning, yeah, you can learn a lot about it, but failing, there's so much more that you can extract from that experience.
Yeah. I'd honestly be scared to win without knowing why I win than to like lose and understand and learn a lesson from there. It's like winning the lottery versus building from something from scratch and then failing.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. I mean, for me, I did feel like I won the lottery, because there was a moment when I left the company, I cashed out, had like a lot of money, and in a way I was new money. So what does it mean when you're new money? Is it's kind of like being a pioneer again. You have to figure out, how do I invest? What do I invest in? What do I do? And I made a lot of mistakes too.
You invested in a lot of different things.
I invested in a lot of bad things. I invested in a lot of good things, and thankfully the good things paid off for my losses. They really did. Again, that's like what I said, like I have, as long as I have one really good win that carries the rest of my losses, I'm net positive. I'm good.
Nice. Ipsy did raise, right? How was that fundraising process for you? Do you remember?
Well, we raised only twice. We're very, very lucky, because most companies, especially when you're in beauty tech, or just if you're just raising for VCs in general, you do around like 1, 2, 3 max raises. After that, it's like, you know, either you go public or you just do a down raise, because after you do like a series C and you get into the D's and E's, it's not necessarily great, because you want to exit or go IPO or get acquired. And so with my case at Ipsy, we technically didn't even have to raise money because we were doing so well. But there was a lot of plans on wanting to aggressively expand globally, and just a lot of things at that point, they were out of my control. I couldn't control anything at that point because it was just too big. This is what I'm saying.
How much did you get to like really shape the direction of the company?
In the beginning, a lot of the creatives, a lot for the creatives, a lot for finding the brand ambassadors, workshops and everything.
Which is really cool. I think Ipsy was the OG content house in a sense.
It
created that model.
That was my idea
of the network effect.
That was
right?
definitely my idea. I take full credit of that.
So you incubated a group of...
We didn't at first. The first batch was creators who were already pretty popular and big. And then the next batch we incubated. Wow. Because what I've learned about the first round was when you're already big, it's almost like herding cats. Like it's hard to, you have to chase after creators to get them to post. You know what this is like. Yeah. I'm guilty of that too, right? Because we're doing a million things. So it made sense to systemize it a bit more and have like in-house creators, in-house team. And that was great too, but also came with its own problems too, because creators, they don't like only being in-house. They need to be creatively free, which I understood for them and I fought for them, but I'm trying to fight against a business, you know? So I was in this really interesting place at the company where I was for the creators, but I had to like be the HR for the creators and also talk to the executives and also talk to the creators. And that was a very exhausting.
Completely new skill set from just creating and running media.
It was exhausting. It was exhausting because you're trying to manage expectations and no one's happy. Like at the end, no one was happy. And this is why where we're at in the creator economy is so much better than 2014 when I launched that program.
Wow.
I launched that program where we created in-house creators. So 2025 compared to 2014. Now creators don't necessarily need, like any creator can just turn on their phone and you can become an overnight sensation if you want. You can. Sure. But to maintain that and to grow a brand, now you need another level. And so the past 10 years, I've been trying to build out that next level. I've been trying to find the people who can help me build out the system for that next level. And you know what it's like when you're in LA and just in this general CPG economy, creator economy it's full of a lot of people who talk. Yeah. A lot of people who oversell, overpromise, and underdeliver.
Yeah, that is hard.
It is, because like I said, I'm such a people pleaser and I'm so naive. And so the next weakness I finally have accepted is I may not have the best discernment when it comes to knowing if someone's a bullshitter or not, but now I have someone who can help me with that, who I trust.
Finding help is so important. I don't know, what was your process of like hiring in the beginning versus like finding a team, building out a team at Ipsy and then M? I'm sure like...
Man, girl, I thought even at M, I figured it out. But even then, because 2020 changed everything, the whole work from home thing changed everything. Because it created now this divide between people who are pro work from home only and people who run businesses. They're like, we can't fully commit to work from home only because we have to have people.
It's very different.
Because it's hard to get people to be self-motivated. That's the reality. And I could speak because I was pro. No, everyone can work from home. I was pro that.
I was pro that too.
And I was funding it and all of that.
Oh, wow.
But then what I found out is because results speak for themselves. Data does not lie. Numbers never lie. And when I saw the numbers, it was clear. It's like people are checked out. They're checked out. And that's the thing is you can't, when they're checked out and they're at home or they're not at the office often, how do you get them to stay on track? It's almost impossible to. So, you know, when I did the hiring at M, I did it by the book, how it's supposed to be done. But just because it's by the book doesn't mean it's always good. Because even now, I'm seeing people who are doing interviews where they're doing video call interviews and they have ChatGPT answer all their stuff and they answer it in real time. So it's stuff like that where now I'm like, I don't know what to do. So what's great is I brought on someone who knows exactly what to do because he built a whole system and he interviewed over 7,000 people in a span of 7 years.
Wow.
1,000 people a year he would interview almost every day. So he knows exactly what to look, because he read over like 300 psychology books. And in a way, he's also my executive coach. He's kind of teaching me how to adopt this way of discerning, this way of psychologizing, this way of speaking, communicating, receiving input, you know, like all of this. Like, I feel like I'm going through a crash course in the past few months of this incredible person who came into my life and he saw kind of like the chaotic mess I made and I allowed to happen. And he really deeply saw like, I'm a good person. And in a way, kind of similar to how like, why do I help so many people? I wish someone did that for me. Yeah. So he's doing that for me because he wished someone did that for him. And he's been such a great mentor and friend in my life. Like finally, and what's crazy is I feel like if I met him 2 years ago, I would not have been ready for him. But because of where I'm at now in life and I did a lot of like the work and I'm working on my awareness and I know my place in a way. I know what I'm good at, what I'm bad at. I'm not delusional, you know? It's perfect because now with him in my life, meeting him and he's so involved in helping me restructure a lot of just my work and even like how I approach work. It's been so fruitful and I'm so happy. I'm so excited to work. Doesn't even feel like work. It feels so challenging. Sometimes I am exhausted, but it's a good exhaustion. It's like after you work out, you know, you feel good. You don't feel like shit. You feel strong.
It helps you grow.
It helps you
have to
grow.
tear the muscle a little bit to repair it and strengthen it.
Exactly. And I felt like for the past 10 years, I was not tearing the muscle. I was just staying very comfortable because...
And then it atrophies. Like there's...
That's exactly what happened to me. I just fell asleep. So
let's talk about the last 10 years because at one point, I think Ipsy has grown so successfully. And then you were literally at the forefront of everything. You also built out M. And then I think, was it at a point you decided to buy it back from L'Oreal?
Yeah. I was, you know, L'Oreal took this huge gamble where they're like, we're going to invest 10 million in this girl. And that was their first time they ever launched a brand from the ground up. They acquire brands. They don't launch a brand. Oh, wow. I mean, besides L'Oreal, other than that, they've never launched a brand. They acquired Maybelline. They acquired Armani. They acquired everything else. Gotcha. They're the master at M&A. They take $100 million brand and turn it into $1 billion. That's what they're good at. That's their sweet spot.
They're kind of like the beauty PE and like...
Totally.
Right?
Totally. So I was given the opportunity. They're like, Michelle, we want to launch a brand with you. You're going to be our guinea pig. Yay, let's do it. So I said, yeah, that was an amazing opportunity. They wrote me a massive check where I called my mom and I said, you'll never have to work a day in your life. And she cried. She was at the nail salon. She was doing someone's pedicure, and I called her. I'm like, Mommy, like, what are you doing? She says, oh, I'm doing someone's pedicure. I'm like, this is the last time you'll ever do anyone's pedicure. And she was crying on the phone. I was crying on the phone. And it was a very special moment because it was like a core memory of mine. Like, I made it. I did it, Mommy. Look, Lancome rejected me, and now look, L'Oreal wants to build a makeup brand for me. How crazy is that? Full circle.
Full circle.
The thing is, it was an amazing experience of learning. I felt like I was thrown into this master class, like this doctorate for beauty. Like, I just learned so much about like makeup and the industry and
even
product
with the
development.
Ipsy experience, because I guess
I did at the same time.
Oh,
I developed it at the same time.
that is crazy.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that. So I would be in New York. I was bi-coastal, so I would live in New York for a few weeks and come back to LA, and it was back and forth, back and forth.
And you were still making content.
And I was still making content, yeah.
What was like the revenue pie at that time, if you vaguely remember?
As in, like, how did I
content
make
creation.
money?
Yeah. And then there's Ipsy.
Ooh,
and then and the time division.
That is a good question. It was whatever was priority. Because there was a lot of moving pieces. With Ipsy, it was kind of nice and autonomous because it was a monthly glam bag thing. My YouTube was also autonomous because I had a good system in place where I had a really great editor and camera operator, which I worked really closely with, we've grown together with, and a producer to help me produce all the content to keep everything on track. And I made sure, at that time I had an assistant and I got an apartment. I subsidized her apartment, so she lived right next to me. So I would set up the studio in there, so I would wake up and walk right next door and film and come back home. Wow. So it was, I just made my life. I had a whole system. So it was easy. It was so easy to do the New York thing, do what I had to do for L'Oreal. As long as I had a laptop and Wi-Fi, I can upload content whenever, and then I would go back to LA and then do the stuff for Ipsy. So it was just this life that I lived, and I loved it. I felt like that main character in whatever story I was in.
Yeah,
you know?
I think you really did become the main character. You wrote in your blog.
I was the main
you
character.
You were that girl, yeah.
I had the perfect life. I had the perfect, everything was just perfect. And so at that time, I was happy. And then because with fame and money, and you know, I will say when I got more press, when I got more famous and I was like on front covers, it just got too...
Vogue, everything, Forbes.
Yes, my personal life took a hit.
Oh, what happened?
Because I just was never home. I was never available for people. And I think certain people in my life just felt neglected when the truth is I wasn't neglecting them. I was just trying to support the lifestyle that we were living. That's the truth. I was just trying to support the lifestyle we were living. I didn't want to neglect them. I wanted them to be part of my journey, and they felt neglected when that was not the intention at all. So I'm very much avoidant. I wish I could go back in time and say, like, come with me, like, be part of my journey. But I was very much an enabler. I become a caretaker and enabler. It's like, oh, you want to stay home? Oh, you don't want to do this? Okay. Well, I never spoke up my needs, and that was the Achilles heel for me, was not speaking up my needs, because at a certain point, you do that for so many years, then there's a break that happens. So
I think at that point you were financially abundant. Relationship-wise and emotionally-wise, did you feel fulfilled, or did you start to feel something was lacking?
No, I felt something was totally lacking. I did not feel fulfilled at all. I felt unhappy. And I try to make things work, and I try to save the relationship too, even to the point where I decided to put a pause on my career and took a flight, went to Switzerland, stayed there for a few months and traveled around the world.
Was this at your peak?
It was at my peak.
Like the world was your oyster?
Yes, the world was my oyster. And there was...
Ipsy was about to be valued at $1 billion and was just like
it was the
starting.
World. It was just like the world was my oyster, and I had two choices. Keep pursuing the world is my oyster, the world is mine, or love. Girl, what do you think I chose?
Oh my gosh.
I chose love. And you know, if I could go back in time, or if I could just tell any girl that's listening, any woman that's listening, it doesn't matter, girl, boy, any dreamer, is never let anyone stand in the way of your dreams. Even the idea of love, even the idea of a happy ending, even the idea of anything. Because the only one who's going to take care of you is you. No one else is going to take care of you but you. You were born into this world alone. You leave this world alone. And it's not a bad thing. Now that I think about it, it's just the reality. That's what it is. And for me, I chose love. And
to give up everything. Did you think You have to choose one over another?
I knew if I didn't upload, I knew the algorithm. I understand how it all works. I understand how the algorithm is. You have to feed the machines. In order to stay relevant and top of mind, you have to constantly post content. You have to constantly show the world your life or show your concept and everything. And I chose love. I really did.
Did you think choosing love means you have to like absolutely stop growing in the direction of your goals?
No, not at all. But the situation I was in was very complicated because, you know, you have to understand that me being who I am, it's kind of new. So, for example, like we live in the 21st century. It wasn't that long ago. Women didn't have jobs. Women didn't have careers. So you have to imagine to remove this programming of over 100,000 years of, you know, if we can all agree with Darwinism, we're all in the same idea that Darwinism and Homo sapiens, we hunters and gatherers and all of that, the programming that a male figure is the one who provides and hunts and the female figure is the one who stays home and takes care and gathers. And I think that's really hard for a lot of men to accept the fact that things have changed, and I don't think we have the tools that for men to learn and process this. It happened so fast, and I was kind of like this new hybrid that was so unique to so many people. Yeah. So I didn't know how to navigate that. Like, how do I navigate insecurities of people who feel like they're inferior because someone's the one who's making the money?
Your success kind of altered your relationship dynamics in
not
a way that you didn't see coming.
And that's with everything, with love, relationship, friendship, everything. And I didn't expect that. I wasn't even aware of it. I just was so starved of love. I just wanted love and acceptance that I would do anything to maintain love and acceptance, or the idea of love and acceptance, because I didn't have that for myself. Wow. So to the point where I would put my career on the side for that. It's so crazy to think that.
It's not.
And this is why I am a cautionary tale, because I'm not saying that you should give up everything. I didn't even want to give up everything. I just thought, oh, this is going to be a temporary thing. And it turned into this long thing, because it's hard. It's really hard to be in a position, and this is why I always tell people, like, it's hard to date me, because for some reason, whenever I was dating someone, they would feel really inferior because I was the one making the money. I had the fame, even though I'm not coming home like, ha ha ha, look at me, I'm the shit. I'm the alpha.
You're extremely humble.
But also, like, I'm very motherly. I'm very maternal. I love taking care of people. I'm very much a matriarch. And like I said, my caretaker side is my strength, but then the shadow is I become an enabler. That's my problem, is I enable. So I wasn't even aware that I was enabling. And long story short, the past 10 years has been me trying to make certain things work in my life, my personal life and my career life. But I realized I can't make one work until I solve the personal life. That's the thing, is I realized my success came when I was laser focused, but then I was derailed.
All your relationships on the side.
Yeah.
And the past 10 years, you've been trying to fix everything
all
in
the relationship
realm.
When I realized I can't fix these relationships because it's not my job to fix it. It's a two-way street. So with family, with love, with work, it's a two-way street. Like, if they don't want to be fixed or they don't want to work with me to fix
you cannot fix anyone.
And so I've been, I wish I told myself that 10 years ago. I thought I could do it, but I realized I had to fix myself first. And so that's what I did in 2022. I fixed myself. I'm like, all right, I'm good. Like, I'm much better than I was before. But then I saw, whoa, like the mess that I'm in with everyone else. Like, this is going to take a long time to get everyone to become aware of this. And what I've learned is sometimes you just got to let go, cut it, and just let go and move on. Like, I have this issue with not letting go of people. I'm not even sentimental. I'm that type of person where I'll burn the bridge and I'll delete you out of my mind. And I sleep, no guilty conscience. I wake up, you're not even in my mind. Very Aries of me. But I care so much about people. That was my problem, was I felt guilty for making them feel bad when I'm not even responsible for how they feel. Yet I feel responsible for it. And that goes back to this self-worth problem that I have.
Were you letting guilt kind of lead your entire life decision?
Everything was guilt. all the decision I made was built on guilt. And this is where I'm changing that from guilt now to love. What does it look like when I build it on a strong foundation of self-love? And it comes across as selfish to other people.
It does come across
as selfish, but it's like, no, I am being self-centered, and that is not a bad thing. I'm centering myself. I'm no longer stretching myself, spreading myself thin. I am centering myself, recentering it again, realigning myself. And that can be seen as self-centered in a negative way, but it is a positive thing for me because I'm happier now, and I have more clarity. I'm more focused. I'm just becoming more me. That's really what it is. Like, you're just becoming more you, because that's what happens when you come from nothing and you become something, and everyone who are part of you with nothing, or they come into your life when you're something, they didn't experience when you had nothing. They just experience you at your height. So there's this entitlement of, oh, well, I'm entitled to this. When it's like, you didn't grind with me to get here, you know? So I just allowed a lot of people into my life right at the top when they didn't go through that process of starting from the bottom. And very much cautionary tale. And this is something that will happen to a lot of people. I see even streamers, they bring their friends along with them, and I'm already seeing like these friends, they get entitled, they think they're the shit. It's like they didn't help this person, they were just friends, and they got brought into their world. And that happened to me a lot. I would bring in people into my life who I thought had my back.
But they were takers?
I don't even think they were even aware they were takers. That's the reality of it. Because like I said, you never want to be business partners with people who are desperate for money. I wish I knew that earlier.
Was that like what led to the Ipsy exit? Or
No. The Ipsy exit was a very much different reason why I left.
And not personal reason.
It was a reason of values. Like, I was not happy with a lot of things, and I just felt like this is not for me anymore. So that's why I left.
Gotcha.
But then it's like winning the lottery. I left and everyone's like, Michelle won the lottery. Michelle, help me. Donate money to this. Help this person. I ended up giving money away to so many people. It was like I was a lottery winner. I didn't know how to say no because I would be guilt tripped into saying yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But thankfully, I made some good investments. I'm fine. And when it comes to work, I never get tired of working. I love working. So I know with myself, like, I never have to worry about money. I have this abundance mindset.
Okay.
But I'm on this new trajectory in life where I want to laser focus again. I don't want to bring along people who are going to make me feel guilty for working, wanting me to just make 200 grand a year instead of making $1 billion. Like, I'm done with that.
You never want to be around people who want to like limit your growth because it makes them uncomfortable.
Exactly. That's the reason why. It's because they don't want to grow, and they don't want you to grow because they know if you grow without them, and they don't want you to leave without them, so they keep you at their level. That's the truth that they're not even aware of, that I became aware of seeing. And it was so clear. It was all in their actions.
Wow.
It was all in their actions. And at the end of the day, actions speak louder than words.
So true. And this is more than just branding associations. It's like a subconscious, deep level influence of your actions in the future.
Oh, totally.
And like every step you take from there on.
Totally. This is why you have to be careful with who you allow into your personal life, because they can influence you to the point where your decisions might not even be coming from you. It's coming from their insecurities.
I want to talk a little bit more about finding that self-worth, because I'm sure so many women listening to your story right now can resonate how sometimes like you're in between choices, and it's very painful to think about, oh, I have to choose love versus career, vice versa. And I could definitely tell you there were times when I was dating someone and I'm like, if this person says something like, yes, let's do this seriously, and let's build a future together, I think I would have like dropped everything and moved. I honestly would have.
Man, we're so emotional creatures.
I feel very like embarrassed. Oh, I have a funny story to tell you. I remember, this is like girl talk now. I remember like when you're an influencer, you still experience the same type of thing. It's just like a common human experience where, for example, you post a story and you check if someone looked at your story.
So fun.
But when you're an influencer, you have a lot of people who view your story. So you're constantly checking in case if like you missed it. There was a time, Michelle, I'm so embarrassed, but it's like funny in retrospect. I cried because a guy didn't view my story.
No way. Oh,
and I was like,
man.
Zoe, that's so fucking embarrassing. But now looking back, it's kind of cute and innocent.
Did you look cute in that story?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of like dressing up really pretty at school and your crush doesn't show up.
It's just funny. It's like, Zoe, there are hundreds of thousands of people viewing this, but you're crying over a guy not watching this. And
ooh, you wanted his validation.
I was in a dark place, I would say. But it was like innocent and cute, where I think it's more precious thinking back because that girl is like gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Today, you wouldn't even care.
No.
Today, you would also do close friends. That's what I would do. I would create close friends, add him on there, and just see if he's watching.
That's true. I do
That's
that
what I would
sometimes. But sometimes I don't want to make it obvious. Yeah. This was back then.
And that's a trick I learned from Christine, my sister. Because she, you know, how she is, right?
Yeah.
I was like, that's a smart trick. Wow, you girls are very clever these days.
Very. But it's also very time consuming.
It is, because we are seeking validation.
Yeah.
See what happens
that
when you
we don't give to ourselves.
Exactly. So when you know how to give it to yourself, you don't seek it from outside of you anymore.
Yeah.
And that's, to me, real freedom. You're no longer imprisoned by your own insecurities. Mm-hmm. That's the best feeling. And it takes time to get out of that. Like, I'm not 100% fully out of it, but I feel like I'm a good 85% out of it.
I don't know if it's ever possible to entirely have zero insecurities.
I met someone with zero insecurities.
Wow.
Yeah. Or a few people, a handful of them. And these are people at the highest level of consciousness. They don't change or fluctuate how they even talk to people when other things change. They're just themselves. Very rare. You know how some people are like, hi, how are you? I'm great. You? You know, where you kind of mirror them.
Yeah.
They don't even do that. They're just so themselves. Like, it's so refreshing to meet people like that.
I was just going to say, the only word that comes up is refreshing.
Yeah.
Wow. What would you do now if you had no fear?
I would probably be completely alone and have no friends or no one in my life. I would just be laser focused and have no one in my life. Even my family, maybe I'll see them on Christmas and Thanksgiving. That's it.
I respect that.
I mean, that's me being completely fearless.
You need to see your family.
Family. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's the guilt of like, what happens if, like, you know, I think about like, oh, what happens when my mom, she's not going to be here anymore. I'm going to have regret. Should have seen her more, right? It's the guilt of time. It's the guilt of death. It's the guilt of, it's not just even caused by people. It's caused by concepts, you know? So yeah, I'm like 80% there, but that's better than where I was at before. Like, way, way better.
You had a lot of people surrounding you,
girl.
throughout this journey.
So many. And like I said, I don't even think they were even aware of what they were doing. I think it's just in their nature. I think when people who are, if they have a certain lifestyle they want to maintain, they will do whatever it takes to keep that lifestyle the same by keeping everything the same. But the thing is, I can't grow in a place where everything is the same. I need change. I need challenges. This is what makes an entrepreneur a true entrepreneur, is when you throw problems their way, they just handle it. They don't see it as a problem. They just see it as, oh, it's part of business, because
it's a new,
you are
challenge.
A problem solver. And this is an exciting invitation to solve a problem that no one's been able to solve. But most people, they idealize what it is to be an entrepreneur and they run away from problems. That's your first sign that this might not be for you. And that's okay. It's okay to be working for someone. It's okay to work for a company. You don't have to be the CEO. It's totally fine. But I feel like people glamorize being the boss, being the CEO, when they don't even understand the responsibility that comes with that title. The real responsibility, not like the shallow responsibility.
Yeah.
The real responsibility. Like, you are literally managing people's expectations, and you have to be on top of people to make sure they are getting the job done and they bring the results needed to keep the company profitable.
What do you think you have learned about motivating people and helping them align with the overall goal of the company?
I actually think it's not about motivating people anymore. You have to identify certain people with a certain set of traits that they have applied to themselves, or they are open to applying to themselves, of being comfortable, being uncomfortable, to take accountability, to writing out a list of tasks that they have to get done, to not procrastinate. And what does that mean to not procrastinate? People tend to think procrastination comes from a place of being lazy. It is partially true, but for me at least, procrastination comes from a place of fear, because you don't want to accept the reality that you have to get this work done. So you create this massive fear that it is going to be such a daunting task and you're going to push it off because you don't want to confront that fear yet.
Gotcha.
And there's a quote that I love from my executive coach. He told me, I love this quote about fear. He said, fear is a mile-long crack that is 1 inch deep.
Yes. I heard this from, I think, Layla Hormozi said it on her
Really?
podcast.
She said that too?
Fear is a mile wide and an inch deep.
Yep. It's exactly that.
Once you step in, it's like...
So how I get over procrastination now is I give myself these $1 million deadlines. I'm like, I need to get this video done in 10 minutes. Because my old self would be like, no, but I need to do this and do that and add this in there. So it's going to take me an hour to edit this video because I want to add all these bells and whistles. But then I have to tell myself, but this video needs to be posted. So either you spend another 3 hours getting this done, or you create $1 million deadline where you're going to get this done in 10 minutes in order to win this imaginary $1 million. So what does that mean? How does that change your brain? Then I'm like, all right, I'm going to go on CapCut, find a template, and just throw this video on there and then just upload it with whatever song. Boom, done.
Love.
It's really that. So it teaches you to adopt a new, it just opens up new neural pathways for you to solve problems. Because if you keep doing things the way you normally do it and you don't give yourself these deadlines and you put like a massive consequence if you don't meet it, you end up giving yourself more excuses and you end up just doing things the way you've been doing it and you don't grow.
Change.
You don't change.
Yeah.
You don't grow. And the only way to grow is consequences. You need consequences.
That's true, to train behavior.
You have to have basically a really good difficulty dynamic. If the difficulty dynamic is not dynamic enough, it becomes boring and you just become like rinse and repeat, and it doesn't evoke creativity. Because I feel like some of my best videos came from places where I felt creatively challenged, right? I mean, I don't know if you've experienced that, but
definitely
when I was creatively challenged, that was my best work came from that.
Yeah.
And people don't like people see challenge as a negative when it's like, just rewire your brain. It's not negative. It is an invitation to grow.
I am so glad that you're still excited about making videos and you're still so hands-on about learning and editing your own videos.
Of course. Absolutely.
That just speaks so true how much you loved it since the very beginning. Because
love
it was not about money to begin with.
It's never about money. And this is the key to unlocking your true potential, your unlimited potential, is you have to love what you do. If you don't love what you do, you got to find that. Whatever that is. And that takes time to find. I know so many people who listened to their parents because they wanted to be the good daughter, good son, and they went down a career path to make their parents happy. But you have to imagine, like, your parents, what they think is success is yesterday's success.
And also their version of success.
Their
not
version
yours.
of success. They're not living in the future. They live in the past. That's just the reality. That's why they want you to do things that other people did before to get rich, but now everyone's doing it. So
it's just like normal baseline.
Exactly. Instead, like fostering an environment that challenges your kid to confront problems and find creative solutions. And so if I ever have kids, this is what I'm going to instill this value in them instead of coddling them and telling them it's okay. Like, I'm not doing that anymore.
No.
Because I realized I was doing that to so many people in my life, and that gave me permission to do that to myself. When that's a betrayal to who I am. I am not that. I don't allow procrastination. I'm someone who wants excellence. But then I lowered my standard because, I was influenced. But I allowed that to happen. So that's why I don't
too.
I don't blame people for it, because I wanted this so I can learn and be this cautionary tale for those who are listening to your podcast.
I love how self-aware you are and the fact that you're just taking accountability for everything that's happened. Because if you gave weight to whatever constraint you had or externality that came along your path, then you're giving power away to those factors.
That's true.
But now you're just taking in everything and saying, this is on me. It's up to me to change. Therefore, I will make a change and just build my actions step by step.
Exactly. You can't be the victim forever. You're allowed to accept that you are a victim to a certain extent, but you also have to take accountability of knowing what you allowed, because it's, there's certain extreme situations. It's like, this person's definitely the victim. But in this case with life choices, right? Like, a lot of it is also what we allow. And that falls on values. This is why values are so important. Like, you need to establish your own values as a human being before you start a company, before you get into a relationship, a friendship, right? Like, values is the foundation of everything. And I wish I could go back in time and tell that to my little young self, like, Michelle, what are your real values? Not what your mom told you, not what society told you. What are your real values? Take this time to explore what that is. And that could be through exploring it through fictional characters. Maybe that's why you really resonate with this character, because they are like this. Extract what values that can be. And it's so great because today we have AI that can help guide you on that. But back then I didn't know what my values were. I was just trying to survive. I was still in this survival mindset of, I need to buy my mom a house. I'll do whatever it takes to get her a house. So all my mental problems, all my insecurities, all my traumas, I'm gonna sweep that under this rug and throw it in this closet and lock it up, and I will deal with that later. And it got to a point where I just never dealt with it, and then it just exploded in my face.
Damn. And do you think that you understand your values clearly now?
Way more. And each and every single day, as I continue shedding what is not me.
Yeah. What has helped you find your values, and what do you think, like, how would you define your values today?
I would say one thing that does help me identify my values is I am becoming aware of what I desire. What I truly desire, like without judging myself. Without judging myself, what I truly desire.
Sometimes we're scared to even voice out our desires.
Yes.
Because of like what this person think.
Yeah, what would they think? Exactly.
People think. Yeah. Everything.
But it's like in your head, no one's going to know, but yet we still self-censor ourselves. That's the craziest part. That's why I realized, wow, I really gaslit myself into this corner, because I can't even speak my own desires without even judging my own desires. Wow. And it's only in my head, girl. You see, when you unlock that, that's when I'm slowly starting to identify what my real desires are. And sometimes your unmet desires will tell you what your desires are. Your unmet desires. Why is it that I'm just using this as an example. Maybe not the best example. I don't know why it popped out to me, but it's just such an anecdotal story.
Okay.
But like, why is it that certain guys, if they have like a female boss that is maybe like a few years older than them, they end up like falling in love, catching feelings for her and stuff.
Interesting.
It's because maybe for him, he didn't get that from his mom, or he has a strained relationship with his mom, and he has an older female figure that he feels this way, and he's confusing unmet desires with having a crush on her when it's not a crush, it's unmet desires. Gotcha. Because if he was someone that had a strong, healthy relationship with his mom and he had self-worth, he would just see, oh yeah, this is just my female boss just helping me. Boom, that's it. But because he's projecting his unmet desires onto her. So identifying your unmet desires by identifying what your desires are so key to identifying what your values are.
Would you say unmet desires are not true desires, but like an illusion that's guiding, misleading you in a way?
No, I think unmet desires are part of your truth, your personal truth.
Okay.
It tells you a lot about what you didn't have and you desired.
Or you lacked.
Deep down, what you lack, and you're not even aware of that. So another way for me to identify my values is I have very vivid dreams. And so I remember my dreams and I journal them down. And when I become aware of my dreams and I become lucid and I can control them, I like to kind of stay lucid and I observe my world around me. I talk to my dream characters, which is basically talking to yourself with no filter on.
Oh, nice.
And it's really interesting what you learn about yourself and the people you meet, the world that's being constructed around you. The nightmares I have tell me a lot about my desires and my values and everything. So I think it is part of just discovering who you are. And this is the journey to self-mastery, is to identify who you are not. And
who
then
you are not is also so important.
Who you are not, yeah. How many of us are pretending to be someone that we're not because we want to be accepted into the tribe?
Yeah. I could definitely say when I first started YouTube, like, I don't even know who she is. That was...
Oh, same girl.
So cringe and so weird.
It's part of the journey. And that's the thing is, you know, as women, like, we should encourage each other to just continue on discovering who you are and accept that cringe. But we live in a society where there's a lot of unhealed women, and unhealed women can be the most toxic. They can be the worst. Like, the ones gossiping about you, the ones starting drama, the one, you know, they just become petty, you know, like they gaslight you. Like I really believed if you lead with kindness, you will receive kindness. But what I learned through that is that's bullshit.
What?
That is bullshit.
I truly believed in that.
No. Only be kind to those who are kind to you.
Okay.
But you could be cordial. You don't need to be kind to them. You can be cordial, you can be professional, but until they're kind to you, you can be kind to them. Because I've seen what people did with my kindness and how, you know, when I love, I really love. Like, I'm Aries. I put 1,000% into love, friendship, work, whatever, right?
Yes.
Some people, and I don't know if they're aware of it, I can't psychoanalyze people. I can only speak from my experience. Some people, they know how to push your emotional buttons to keep you in this state of whatever state that you're in so they can maintain this illusion. And then when you when you break out of that illusion and you start questioning it, they get upset about it. They try to put you back asleep. Sometimes I feel like I'm like breaking out of the matrix and everyone's trying to put me back asleep.
I feel like you are in the matrix. You are a character in the matrix.
You too,
in your own
you
matrix.
too. But we all are.
We all
are. And how come they don't want us to wake up? Because they don't want us to know the truth. They don't want us to know our truth, our personal truth, because truth is singular. There's only one truth. People call it God, right? But we don't know even how to quantify that. The moment we put a word to what that is, you already attach a human ego to it. You already make it lesser than what it is. But we know our personal truth at least. And that's what I'm saying is when you identify your personal truth, you know your values, you know what you're not. Now you are on the path of self-mastery. And what is self-mastery is you are on a journey to fulfilling your destiny. Because we all have a destiny.
Ooh, what do you think your destiny is?
My destiny is to become the ultimate creator, to inspire other people to become creators.
Wow. I think that sums it up very beautifully.
That's what I do. Yeah.
Before all the different noises, that was what you were set to do.
Yeah.
Since the very beginning.
It was exactly when I started off online.
Yeah.
And I wanted to escape my reality because it was so horrible. I went online and it was this beautiful paradise for me where I had a blank slate. And then that became a new nightmare of mine. So I had to go offline. And I mean, it's so crazy, this whole hero's journey. And it's always going to be like that. Like, I always thought, okay, once I reach this destination, I made it, I am done.
You can never be done.
You'll never be done. It never ends. And in a way, it's amazing it never ends.
I think so.
Did you ever read Chronicles of Narnia? Or you know about that book, right?
Oh, yes.
So I read the whole series, and I don't want to spoil it, but I don't know if anyone's going to read it. But the last page was probably one of the, I get goosebumps thinking about it, the best page where I did not want the story to end. I was so sad. I was crying. I was on the last page.
Did you tear it out?
Well, I loved how they wrote the last page where it never ends, and how they wrote it. I remember reading it, and I was only 11 or something. I was crying, but I just loved how the author was able to articulate that, and every new chapter and every new story becomes better and better and better and better.
I think so. Even though I was a terrible dancer, I did it for fun in college.
You danced? Like
very terribly. I'm very uncoordinated. I
too.
I can't skate. My sister is a figure skater. I can't skate.
No way.
She got all the balance. I got everything else.
You got everything else. You got a lot of good stuff. The brains, you got the hair, you got the style.
She's
you got
awesome
the swag.
too. She's very creative, and I'm excited for her. She's coming to LA.
Oh no, wait! I haven't
for
met
college.
Her.
You will meet
Wait,
her.
when is she coming?
This fall for college.
Okay, cool. We'll meet and we'll like eat and stuff, hang out.
Yes.
Oh, that's good. You have someone.
I want her to meet my LA family, and I came here to the U.S. 9 years ago without anybody. So I'm glad.
A dream.
Yes. So I'm glad at least she can come here with the foundation I built, and she will be in good hands.
Oh yeah. No, that's what us older sisters do.
That's
true.
That's
what we do. We pave the way for our...
And that's why you branded this whole brand M, which means...
Little brother, little sister in Vietnamese.
That is just
beautiful.
It's
not EM, it's M, everyone. It's M, like M. We call them M, M-I, M khỏe. That's what you say. You okay? You're good? It's a way of just talking to someone that you love that's younger than you. Because I always felt like a big sister online.
You are.
You know, and
even to women who are older than you, I think you brought a sense of comfort to everyone where it's okay to I don't know, it just felt like a safe space where everyone can be themselves and really geek out on beauty.
Yeah.
Really be passionate about these things.
Yes.
And feel beautiful together.
By the way, your eyes are so glittery. I
Oh,
love
thank
it.
you. I think the shadow is Too Faced.
Love
and
it.
then I used a Korean underwater liner.
Loving this whole look. I'm all about the whole blush placement and everything.
Thank you. I learned it from you.
No way.
I used to place my blush around my cheekbones, and then I'm like, something looks off. And then Crystal was like, you know, Michelle taught this thing where if you place it under your eyes, you would put more focal attention around the center of your face, especially if you have a round face. So thank you for...
Enjoy your round face, because once you hit 30s, you're going to be all contoured and angled.
I still cannot fathom how you never aged a single day. You look younger.
No, I've aged, girl. Yeah,
No,
I did. Well,
you
I
look
mean,
better
maybe
than ever.
I'm reversing because I'm going through my healing journey.
Yeah.
That helps. That does remove a few years off your face.
Yeah, but I think you always have a youthful spirit, which keeps you just young and vibrant. I think that's just so special.
We become beautiful together. And this is where I feel like as I'm slowly coming back online and I'm just slowly becoming more active and, you know, removing the illusions of what I thought I was and just stepping more into myself. Mm-hmm. I truly believe that the journey of beauty this is why I'm here. Like, part of my destiny is also to remind myself, which reminds everyone else, we're already perfect. We were born perfect and beautiful, yet we have such a war on ourselves. And that shows you the influence.
The war.
There's a war on ourselves.
Correct.
You know what I mean, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Out of the different people I've dated, I remember, I don't know if this was sincere, but once a guy was like, yeah, you're perfect as you are. And I'm like, you're bullshitting. I would just never believe it. But
That's a good line, though.
I'm very...
That's a good line.
I'm
Do you think
very-
he meant it? Honestly.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
I love guys like that who
Yeah.
can just say that, you know, and they mean it.
Yeah. It was just like very casually and within a conversation. But I think we are ultimately our worst enemies.
Girl, you're telling me. I'm telling you, that's why it's
In
all in the head.
creativity and entrepreneurship,
Yeah.
everything.
Oh, yeah. If you don't get the mind and the heart in coherence with each other, you're just going to constantly live in a state of delusion and chaos. And that's what I was in the past 10 years, was I was trying to figure out, like, what the heck? I thought I'd achieved everything. Why am I so unhappy? And it was because it was all my undoing. It was all me allowing things to happen, allowing other people to influence me and vice versa. Because what I've learned about, this is why I love my side quests. It's really my main quest, but it is my side quest to the public eye.
Okay.
Is I'm very much into exploring, like, when I say I explore consciousness, like, I'm lucid dreaming. I'll just sit in a lotus meditation and it's crazy, the altered state of consciousness I go into. When you research the Monroe Institute with remote viewing, like, the stuff is real. When I go deep on consciousness, and I even meet people in my community who are deep in it, like they do like Kundalini meditation, it's insane what they experience. And
I bet.
the breakthrough that you get, I've realized and I know that every single person that you meet in your life is somehow a reflection of who you once were, who you don't want to be, who you are, who you're not, right? It's everyone is somehow mirroring something about yourself and vice versa.
That's the beauty of relationship.
That is the beauty of relationships. And why do we keep falling in the same pattern? Why do we keep choosing the same persons? Because we didn't become aware or learn that
our
lesson.
lesson.
And God, the universe, I call it God, keeps sending us the same lesson in a different person, in a different form, in a different experience, because you haven't leveled up. And I feel like I'm at this inflection point of a major level up, and I have to confront everything I am right now. And that's part of life. And it's better to do this now so that you can enjoy your 40s and be in a state of clarity and not have a midlife crisis that a lot of people get in their 40s, where they stubbornly, like my old self, gaslit themselves into being okay with all this.
We're truly so good at gaslighting ourselves.
Dude, I'm the best. I'm the queen of gaslighting myself.
Oh, me too.
You too?
I think on one spectrum, you have to have a sense of delusional confidence in yourself to break into the market and also to be successful in your endeavors. But on the other hand, you do have to factor in data and actions.
You do. Yeah, it's a dance. It's very much a dance. This is why having people like you, me, and just having a core group of friends who only want nothing but your success.
Yes.
That is so hard to find.
That's honestly, I think, my greatest wealth is the people I really love and cherish in my life. I know you went through a long period of alone, just being alone. I went through that in college where I had acquaintances, I had friends, people I would like hang out with occasionally or eat, but I just felt very empty. I never really connected with them.
Yeah.
And I knew we were heading different directions where I'm just like, this is like a waste of time. I feel so bad.
Yeah.
But then I became okay with being alone, and it was so freeing because I would just like eat alone and then like lock in on my goals to like graduate early. I didn't like UCLA, to be honest. I didn't feel like I fit in. I didn't care about partying, and I just wanted to reach my goals faster.
It's good. I feel like when I was alone during those college years, I was so locked in. And that's what I'm looking for again. That's why you're asking me, if you were fearless, Michelle, what would you want? I'm like, I would be 100% alone. Wow. That's scary because part of me, it's not that I don't want to be alone. I just know so many people depend on me. They just depend on being in my life that if I were just to cut everyone off, I just feel bad. I would feel bad for them, you know? But I know for me, I'd be fine. You know, like I said, I never get bored. I like being alone.
Oh my gosh, yes.
You know?
I honestly think almost every creator enjoys their alone time. You can never be bored on your own.
I'm never bored.
I get so excited to like learn what are the new AI tools I could use in editing right now. Like, how can I make this better? How can I optimize this thumbnail? It's very fun for me.
Right, yeah.
The brain never shuts off.
Yeah, it's going to get even better. We're going to see a renaissance of just everything and content and everything. This is why for me, like, I'm so excited to kind of reignite my flame again and just be myself, you know, just truly be myself. And I hope this inspires other people to, you know, take their life back in their hands and pursue and fulfill their destiny.
Yeah.
Because if we're just living a life to just die, what's the point? You know, like really live your life. And sometimes being the best version of yourself comes with a lot of goodbyes.
A lot. But at the end of the day, everybody's going to die. So the people who you're scared to judge you, like, it wouldn't matter in 70, 100
That's
years.
what I tell people all
You're
the
gonna
time.
die too.
It's
like,
true. We don't think about Steve Jobs.
Nobody's going to remember you anyways, like 3 generations down.
Do we think about Thomas Edison whenever you turn on your lights? Or do you think about Steve Jobs whenever you turn on your iPhone? That's what I tell people all the time. In 50 years, no one's going to care.
Yeah.
That's one thing I was teaching this creator course, and I mentioned it to a bunch of creators. I said to them at the end, if you were not scared of any judgment, what content would you post?
And then post that.
And post it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always get so excited when people are like, I want to create content. And I'm like, do it. It could really change lives, as you've seen.
Yes, of course.
As like with me too. But a lot of times, like, they're in their own heads. And they say this, like the same people come up to me, be like, I want to start content. And like 4 years after, they're still saying, I want to start content. And I'm like, I kind of always know it whenever someone says to me, I want to start content. I can kind of tell if they will start it.
Yeah,
I always encourage it.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, if you're not an action-oriented person,
bingo,
you can idealize and fantasize and do all this like mental romanticization without doing anything. Nothing changes. You're still living your dream every night, but then you wake up and hate your reality every single day.
It's exactly
That's what brings the most pain. And I really wish people had more courage to just like be a little bit more uncomfortable.
Yeah. And they don't have to do it right away. I just tell people, even those who want to dip their toes into content, just start with photos. You don't have to do a video.
So true.
Just start with photos.
There's so many tools that are...
There's literally no excuse now. With where AI is going, there is literally no excuse for you not to pursue and try and become a creator, because like there's the tools I'm using. I'm like,
wait, I want to hear about the tools.
Oh, I'm using so many. Like,
what are your favorites right now?
I would say top 3 would be Midjourney, Suno.ai, and ChatGPT. I do love Runway. I do love all the photo to video.
Oh yeah, Sora's good.
Sora's good too. Pika.
I really like Opus in terms of
Opus,
cutting down.
yeah. Opus
it's not there yet, but I can't
It's gonna
spend
get there, yeah.
40 minutes to an hour on every single cut down. That's like consuming my life.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good for like highlights, but if it's this good, imagine in 1 year. So that's why I'm excited about all these tools. I'd rather use it early. It's like when I first used Photoshop, I used Photoshop 2.0. Mm-hmm. So I know Photoshop like the back of my freaking hand, girl.
Yeah.
It's better to use it early, and then it's always going to get better. But I love all these tools. I was making a song the other night in AI, and it's such a good song I was playing. I'm like, man, I just typed in a few prompts and I made this pop. It's so good.
Like, and you have no copyright, which is, it's just fascinating.
We are going to see an incredible renaissance of content. And I know a lot of people are scared. I have friends in all the sectors who they really believe they're going to be replaced. But I always tell them, you need to start using these tools so that you will be irreplaceable. Mm-hmm. You need to become the ultimate storyteller, because this is who is going to stand out. Will be the storytellers, because now if anyone can make a really good song, if anyone can make a really good image, how does anyone stand out? It's how you show that image. It is how you market the song. Mm-hmm. It really is going to be about who is going to be the best marketer, which the best marketer are the best storytellers.
I agree. And it's all about brand. Do you have a cohesive brand?
Yes.
And a respectable, trustworthy brand?
Right.
Yeah. Huge. And I mean, as someone who has been in creativity for over 18 years, you were able to withstand all the changes to the platforms and everything. Mm-hmm. So you're not scared about AI at all?
No.
I love that.
No, not at all. I mean, it would be absurd. I mean, it would be the equivalent of some of the early jobs where people, this was a real job. Someone would go knock on your door to wake you up. That was a job before the alarm clock was invented.
No way.
There was another, when the automobile was created, people who were breeding horses for carriages and everything were upset. They were saying, no, this is going to destroy our jobs. We can't support this innovation. Mm-hmm. Imagine stopping the automobile just so that those who are breeding horses for carriages could still survive.
That's absurd.
We still have horse breeders, but they breed them for different reasons now. Yes. And they still breed them for carriages, but it's a small market. That's the thing, is people are so scared of change. And my relationship with change has changed from fear to this is going to be fun.
Oh, yes.
Once you make that switch, it's fine. Like, I'm just so unbothered now. I'm like, all right, let's try it,
Yeah.
Why not?
And you show it.
It's like being a kid.
Yes.
When we were kids, were we scared of new things? We love new things.
Yeah.
But when we're an adult, we hate new things because it's a new thing to learn. I just learned this and it's a new thing
And also you are always thinking about, like, would this look bad if I don't perform as well? And what will other people think?
Judgment.
Like, you can never tell a kid, be like, you're stupid, you can't walk on two legs, when they're just like a few months old.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yet when you're an adult, you have all these expectations from externally and internally of how things should pan out.
And that's your own doing. That's what I tell people.
It kills creativity.
Yep. Fear. Fear is the number one killer of success. And fear is a mile-long crack that's 1 inch deep.
Period. Yeah.
Period, point blank. It's literally that.
Yeah. And I have just so much respect for you, how you have so many established platforms, but you're willing to go into TikTok and do these live streams and, like, grind as if
it's 8
you
hours.
Started from zero.
Yeah.
Why are you suddenly going live basically every day, doing these 8-hour lives? All these 8-hour lives.
Yeah, I see comments of people saying, oh, Michelle must be desperate for money. No. It's like, man, if only you knew. If only you knew I didn't have to do this, but I do it because I fucking love it. And I'm doing this too to build out the next blueprint for the next generation.
Bingo.
That's really why I do all this. In 2016, to be exact, I was flown out to China, and I think it was Alibaba who flew me out. I forgot who flew me out, but I went to all the different capitals in China, and the one I went to was in Guangzhou, and it was very fascinating because I went into this massive city that had like 40,000 people that just worked there. So imagine 40,000 people. It's a city of 40,000 people who are working at this company.
Gotcha.
And I went into this one studio and they had this whole live setup. And I was just kind of observing from the sidelines. And one of them asked, "Oh, Michelle, do you want to hop in and say hi?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." So I sat in and I just showed the audience what was in my makeup bag. And I was like pulling up some brushes. They had other makeup on there and I was showing it. I was applying it on my face. And I was not even speaking in Mandarin. I was speaking in English because I'm American. I'm Vietnamese. I don't speak Mandarin. And when I was done 15 minutes later, I got up and I got off camera and one of the person pulled me aside. It's like, Michelle, you just sold $300,000 worth of makeup. I was like, what? What do you mean I sold $300,000 worth of makeup? And so that was my first intro into live shopping in China.
And it was like a foreign demographic too. It's not even your core audience.
Well, what's interesting is in the beginning, before YouTube was banned from China,
oh my gosh,
half of my viewers came from China. Half. So I could have been bigger. That's what I tell people.
Yes.
Like, if China's firewall didn't go up, like I could have been so much bigger, but it's fine. But actually, a lot of people in China, they call the influencers, creators, KOL, key opinion leaders. I believe that's what it means. And they all say like, "Yeah, Michelle, you're the first KOL. You're the first KOL." I'm like, this is crazy.
I know.
So yeah, the live shopping thing, I was blown away by it. And I kept asking them, when are you bringing it out to America? What the heck? We need this because this is where, it's genius. It makes sense. But the problem is the infrastructure wasn't built yet. So I've been waiting since 2016 for someone to figure it out because that's a very expensive thing to figure out. Imagine building something like a live shopping platform and trying to amass billions of people to use it.
The supply chain and everything.
Infrastructure
is missing here.
So I was just patient. And a few years ago, I decided to try different online live streaming platforms because there was a bunch that popped up because I think word on the street, everyone knew TikTok was going to launch there soon. And so a lot of people were trying to launch it before they launched it, but it was futile because TikTok just figured it out. They figured it out in China and they just decided, let's just bring it here to America. So
makes sense.
They were brilliant because they spent time building the audience, building that trust, having that network effect where you have billions of people using it.
Yeah.
And then slowly introducing shopping where people start having the habit of shopping. And then last year they rolled out live shopping. So they reached out to me and heck yeah. I'm like, I was born to do this. Let me just do it. So the first show I did, I broke all records. It was insane. And they were surprised, but I wasn't because I was doing it in 2016. I knew,
wow.
I was excited. I knew where this is going. So something about me is I love to be a pioneer. I love exploring and finding new ways to tell stories, to consume, to create, because ultimately that's what I am. I'm a creator. So I love to constantly expand my own horizons.
I love that about you.
Or else, honestly, why? What's the point of doing any of this? I do this because I really want this to help the next generation. I truly care about that. And I love learning and growing. And I love starting from the bottom. Because I feel like when you start from zero, no one judges you because you got nothing to judge it off of.
That's
so it's
true.
kind of cool to start from this to zero and do it all over again. It's like playing the video game again, but you played it before, but you're coming back now with all the weapons that you acquired and you're playing the whole game again.
That's true.
With the new weapons.
No effort goes to waste, which is why I feel like your growth trajectory is faster and faster each time with everything. Like, for example, with the live shopping, you helped a brand earn more in one live stream than they made
in 1 month. Yeah. It's crazy.
And they hit 100 million revenue because of the earned media value you brought from all the different campaigns and the live stream you did.
It's crazy. And just the brand recognition for creators, because creators then they see if Michelle uses it, I'm going to use it too. It's really that. And that's brand equity that you build, but that takes time.
Yeah.
Like, that's not something you can buy. That took 15 years to build. Wow. So sometimes there's time equity that you can't buy. You just have to grind and be consistent. And this is why, if you want to be successful, it's not about being the most talented. It's not about being the prettiest. It's not about being the most alpha or the richest or the funniest. It really is about consistency. If you're not consistent, the algorithm's not going to know. and it's not going to push you to everyone. It's really that simple. But people don't want to be consistent because people love to be comfortable. They don't want to challenge themselves, because when you're consistent, that also means if the algorithm changes, then you have to change your content, but some people don't want to change it. You know?
Consistency is boring, but like the boring stuff works.
The boring stuff works. Yeah, it does work. And I'm living proof of that. And so many other creators who I've guided to do the same are also living proof of that too. There's one girl that I saw, I had a brand reach out to me like, oh, so-and-so follows you. Like, she just reached out and she wants to try one of our products. What do you think of her? And I looked at her profile and I had the biggest smile on my face because she was my waitress over 8 years ago at a Santa Monica Italian restaurant. And she had the most beautiful makeup on. She knew who I was. We exchanged loving conversations and comments. And I invited her to like a beauty event, hooked her up with products. I told her, you should do this. I think you have what it takes. And I followed her to kind of encourage her, like, I'm going to follow you so that, you know, Michelle Phan follows you, right? So you got to make content. She would make content from here and there, and I would see a lot of her content. And throughout the years, I would see her, I would like it. And I kind of fell, you know, like the algorithm changes. You don't see everyone's content, right?
Right.
When I clicked on her profile in that message, she had 1.2 million followers. And I DM'd her, I had her come to the office, and she said, yeah, 2020 happened, everything shut down. I worked at the restaurant. I figured, well, I have nothing to lose. I'm just going to be consistent and upload content. And that's how she blew up. It was consistency.
I don't think people understand how content is such a forgiving game where it's like you have this unlimited shot at a lottery that you could keep trying and trying and trying until something works. And you just have to be willing to take up the boredom to be consistent.
Yes.
And the grit to like lose face, quote unquote.
Totally. But most people I know that want to do it, but they don't fully commit. They dip their toes in. They don't have the grit. And they also don't want it enough. That's the truth. Like, it was only when she lost her job was when she said, fuck, I have nothing to lose. So that's the other thing too, is when you are too comfortable, you can't change. And so that's why you need to make yourself uncomfortable. So that's why I do those $1 million deadlines.
Yeah.
To create consequences.
The micro pains.
The micro pains, very important.
Wow. For the macro wins.
I love that. Micro pains for the macro wins.
Yes.
Fuck, I love that.
Like, I just love how inspiring it is that there are people making 20 to 30K a month from TikTok Shop, and they're not big creators. Oh. They're just consistently.
They're uploading 3 times a day, 4 times a day. There was one girl who did a GMV of 6 million a year. She uploads 5 videos on TikTok a day. And
just shopping videos.
I'm going to be honest with you. I have taste when it comes to like quality of content. I looked at it, I'm like, man, this is very basic, but she's killing it. And she's such a lovable person. Aww. So that's another thing is people think, oh, I need to have a nice background. I'm like, no, her background, her room is dirty. People find it's relatable.
Gosh. Yeah.
They find that it's relatable and it works. It's like when I started off on YouTube, people love that I was in my room.
Yes.
And then the moment where I made it too high production, it was too far away from people. So now that's why I love doing these lives, because I get to go back down to earth and meet them where, meet them back where we're at, which is authenticity.
Yeah. And you're so giving in terms of like you're giving your wisdom and your time to building this community. So it just shows like, even though you took an almost like 10-year break, that trust is still very, very strong. That's just the power and beauty of building a long-lasting brand.
It is. Yeah. Absolutely.
Wow. That is amazing. What platform do you like the best right now in terms of creating on?
All different. I still think I'll love YouTube forever because YouTube, I love long form.
Yeah.
But I would say TikTok is so fun. TikTok is definitely, now I get it. Like, because I'm a boomer. I'm like, man, I don't get this.
You're not a boomer.
No, I am, girl, I am. I'm going to be 40 in 2 years. But I saw, now that I'm more on TikTok, it does feel like old YouTube. Totally. And the algorithm is fantastic.
I just really love how people are so creative on there.
Yeah.
And YouTube is becoming more and more polished and high production.
As it should be.
Which is great. Yeah.
As it should be.
But I really love how TikTok made it easier for people to participate.
Yes.
In the content creation
game. They really did the playing field was evened out when TikTok came to the picture, because you didn't need DSLRs or, you didn't need fancy cameras or lighting or anything. You just needed a phone and Wi-Fi, and that's it.
That's true.
That's it. Not even good lighting. Sometimes the shitty lighting, it works. I don't know why, but people feel like it's real. And I love that about TikTok. People want to see real things. YouTube is basically TV. And TikTok is social media shopping.
Shopping. It is crazy where it's going to go, I think. Because I know family friends in China and just friends in general who tell me the landscape in China. I don't know if it will ever get to that scale, but they're buying groceries on live shopping.
And they get them in 2 hours. Yeah, delivered. They go into their house, they put it in your house, and they just leave.
I think it's going to change consumer habits so much because they might not even need that thing. They just scrolled and they're like, this is a fresh cucumber. This is fresh, cut of salmon.
And they're going to show you, and here's what I'm going to cook and the seasoning. This is how I'm going to make it. And you can buy it right now. This is where it's going. It's interest-based shopping. People are going to shop based on their interest, not necessarily, how we normally shop, where I got to go to the groceries. I got to go on Amazon, get my toilet paper, get this. Now you discover products through people. So to me, it goes all the way back to this. I've been waiting for this for so long.
Yes.
I'm like, this is my time to shine now again. And it just shows you sometimes you have to wait for the right opportunity. Just be prepared for it.
Wow.
So I've been just sharpening my blade this entire time, just getting ready.
It wasn't like a 10-year disappearance. You've been prepping. You've been
prepping.
Building behind the scenes, just very quietly.
Yes, very quietly.
Wow, that is powerful. Do you have more to share about what you're building and what you're excited to change and help the landscape?
I have an announcement I'm going to be making this year, but it is essentially something that I wish was created when I started off on my journey as a creator. Just a system in a way for creators to make money, real money, be pushed to be consistent while also being able to build a brand. So I'm taking my whole career and I'm putting it into this new form of basically a new ecosystem. It's hard to even describe what it is because it comes in different buckets, but they all are cohesively linked together.
Wow.
But, I'll make that announcement and everything when the time comes.
I'm so excited because every product you pour your heart into stems from a pain point from your past. And that's the best product design because you understand as a user what the other end wants and needs. Instead of building out all these things to service, quote unquote, the creator economy, while it really doesn't do much for this wave.
I know what it's like to build a brand, to fund a brand, to run a brand, to be a creator, to grow as a creator, to make money as a creator, to be a consumer. So it's just the whole 360 lens of 18 years experience that I'm putting into this incredible platform that I know will help so many creators. Because for me, like I said, if creators can have income that can come in, stable income, they can make better decisions in their life and not chase after every shiny object or get distracted or sidetracked.
Yeah. Going back though, was your income as a creator consistent at all or?
It was, good question. I would say it was consistent if I was posting content consistently for AdSense. But the moment I didn't have to rely on AdSense, I relied on sponsorship, then I had to make sure that my brand relationship was good. So you just had to make sure one bucket was long-term and not just, because the problem with making sure my AdSense was good, making money basically off of my content is I had to have 3 months worth of content done so that I can scale. Right. Because you can't scale if you're just catching up every single time. But the problem with scaling that is a lot of the content I was making, there was a certain trend and you can't really predict trends,
Yeah.
So this is why I think TikTok is great because it's short form, it's fast, people watch it once, they never watch it again. It's a great platform to dip your toes into, but once you really identify a strong niche and you want to grow that more into long form, then you take that concept onto YouTube and you make long form with it. And Instagram is kind of like this interesting place right now where I feel like Instagram has become our version of LinkedIn. It's basically the new LinkedIn.
I agree. It's like your
calling
name card.
Yeah, it's your calling card.
It's your portfolio. It's how you connect with people. Yeah. It's your CRM.
Exactly. It's exactly that. So I treat Instagram almost like my calling card, my brochure, my Michelle Phan brochure.
Yeah.
And YouTube is long form, Michelle Phan, and then TikTok is just whatever. It's fun. It's just me hanging out. It's like real Michelle, just having fun and not taking things so seriously. So there's so many platforms now for anyone to get into. There's no excuses for anyone to not want to do it, only if they don't want to do it. But if they do want to do it, the barrier to entry is so low, and the tools that you have at your disposal are so unlimited that it's really going to be you that's stopping yourself from pursuing your destiny and dreams.
You can't say you want to do something and never do it through action. Then you don't want
it's true. It's true. But there's a lot of people who do it because I get it. It's comfortable not failing. It is comfortable staying the same and not making any mistakes, but then you don't do anything. So what do you want to do? Just live to die or live?
So true. 2 fun, quick questions. What was the most you've ever made on AdSense, either in a video or in a month? Because you had crazy views, but I wasn't sure how good YouTube CPM and RPM were.
It was really good. I think the highest was probably 100K.
Wow.
That was good for me because I was just doing 4 videos a month. I wasn't doing 3 to 4 like other people, but I've heard some of my friends were doing like 200, 300K AdSense a month, but they were uploading slime videos and just a lot of the kids content. Kids content, they were crushing it in. I would say, that for AdSense for sure. But this is why TikTok Live is so crazy, because I could just do an 8-hour live. And if I'm doing like a 300K show, my take home from that is insane. This is really where it's like, it's going in this direction because it's a win-win for brands and for creators too.
Absolutely, because you bring tangible results and the brands are happier with the results.
Exactly.
But I feel like it's still very low-key right now, where not a lot of creators know, and we're not gatekeepers.
No, we're not gatekeepers. I have like a program where I'm training creators to do this.
That's amazing.
And I'm even doing like a live with a big creator. You know her. Amber and I were going to be selling secondhand luxury handbags because we're all about sustainability and everything. And this is up our alley. But it just feels like I'm going back to experimenting mode again. And I love this. I thrive in this. And I just want to be able to continue helping creators who I think can make a massive impact and growing together and hopefully helping them start a brand. And I mean, with you too, like I see so much promise in you and everything. You have that grit. You have what it takes to be a successful unicorn creator.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I think like the creator career is really interesting because there are 2 ways to monetize. You can either run media and kind of cater to brands to help them advertise, or you can cater to your audience and then sell the product and have negative acquisition costs, which is very, very undervalued.
It is.
You can sell something online by making content while getting paid by the platforms.
Yeah.
It's just fascinating. It's very slept on.
It is. And it's only going to be more established because, like I said, China already figured it out. So I just want to build something that I'm going to be proud of. Before I leave this realm, I'm going to look back and be like, wow, like this thing that I built really helped a lot of people discover who they are, build their brand, and for them to have real financial freedom. Because something that I wish everyone can experience in their life is that feeling I felt when I called my mom and I told her she'd never have to work a day in her life. I want every single creator to have that moment for them, whatever that moment is.
It's that power and freedom. Yeah.
It's, Mommy, I did it. It's that feeling like, I did it, Mom.
Oh my gosh. Would you ever stop creating or maybe just take a break on any of the platforms?
Now with AI, I'm like, no, how could I? I'll probably create an AI agent of Michelle Phan, creative director.
Oh, yeah.
This type of creator. And maybe I'll do like e-girl Michelle. And then another one's like, I don't know, like self-help motivator Michelle. Like
it's creating the characters again.
Yeah, I'll have so many versions of me that I'm going to program, create, clone.
That's going to be such a gift to the world.
I mean, it's going to be gifts to all of us.
Yeah.
I also want to enjoy other personas for myself, you know? And it's like we're at this inflection point so similar to the beginning of the internet. When the internet first came out, everyone was like, what is this?
Yeah.
I knew this is the future. And so with AI, I'm like, yo, This is the future. It's going to be so crazy. We're just going to see so many changes in every industry. And with change comes a lot of fear because of the unknown, but I thrive in the unknown. Throw me in there. I'm going to be thriving in it and welcoming it with open arms.
Absolutely. Love it. What's the biggest brand deal you've ever landed? And are you comfortable with disclosing that amount?
Oh, yes.
Because you're the queen of brand deals. I feel like creators were able to monetize and formalize this partnership structure with brands because you set a good example of doing a great job creatively and also bringing the brands a return.
Right.
So thank you for setting that.
Of course. I really pushed a lot of these brands to pay the amount. I would be like, how much would you pay for commercial? Well, this commercial is not going to run for 2 months. It runs forever as long as the platform's up. So that's how I would have to position it for them.
It's so cheap for brands.
It's so cheap. So they couldn't imagine paying that much. But when I was able to put it in perspective, they got it. So one was $1 million.
For one single brand deal.
It was a single brand deal for a year. And another one was $3 million. But I would have to create series of video content for this company. And I was not happy with doing it. It was something I didn't like. Like, this is when you know I'm a good person, is I actually so originally it was $4 million. I spent the first $1 million, but I was like, this is not for me. I can't do this. I'm not meant to do something like this. It was just not my way of working.
Right.
Because it was such a big media company. So I gave the $3 million back to them when I technically could have kept it. But I had such integrity. I'm like, here's the $3 million. You can keep it. Take it back. So I didn't want to burn any bridges with them. And they were so happy. They're like, wow. They've never seen anything like that. They're like, wow. Like, any celebrity would have kept it. Even my lawyer's like, you can keep it, right? I'm like, no, I'm giving this back to them. Wow. I just don't want that karma, No,
that's something I think is why your brand is so solid for the long term. Something I really respect about you is that you always make sure you over-deliver what the brands pay.
Always.
It's always a good deal with you, and therefore you maintain your brand authority and like the brand power of you as Michelle Phan and anything you work on. So I think that trust is not built in just one day. It's built through deal after deal after deal.
You have to care.
To all the no's that you had to say to leave money on the table. I can't even imagine.
Yeah, it sucked giving it back, but I just knew it was the right thing to do. It was the right thing to do. And I didn't want to burn any bridges. But I will burn bridges if I see that this is not going anywhere and this is going to be more trouble than it is worth. And so I burn a lot of bridges and I don't regret it at all. I'm that type of person where if it gets me to the point where I burn the bridge, that means I had enough. Wow. And, I have high tolerance. So if I've had enough, it's gone. I never rebuild bridges, ever. You're a Leo. You understand that. That's why she's like,
Yeah, you don't need to make the same mistake twice.
Nope, you don't. Yep, just
you
once.
learn, you grow, you move on. It's harder for relationships, but that's
always, because that's a very human, emotional thing and very emotionally complicated. But yes.
Absolutely. Is there anything else that I should have asked or you would like to share?
No, I can't think of anything else. And I know we'll probably do in part 2, part 3. I'm really excited. Yeah,
I'm really excited
about this.
Because I get to see a lot of the back end of how Michelle is regrowing everything at exponential speed. She is back into being herself. I think when I first met you, you were not in the best state of mind. You didn't have this clear focus of what you want to do. You were still kind and compassionate and curious, but you weren't as sharp and you weren't as vibrant. No. You didn't have this energy, to do 8 hours of live without eating or drinking anything. It just comes from the heart.
Honestly, I was in this weird metaphysical coma where I was just asleep and I woke up and now I know exactly what I want, which is great because I just needed a direction and a goal. And now that I'm laser focused on that goal, I'm just going straight there.
Absolutely. And journaling and tapping into your unmet
subconscious,
needs.
Unmet needs.
Are ways to operationalize and finding that.
It's everything. Like, they should have taught us this in school.
Right.
Honestly, I don't need to know about social studies and geography. I need to know about my subconscious mind and, like, my unmet needs and everything.
Unmet needs, yeah. Emotional intelligence, too, I feel like
totally
should have been taught in school.
Totally. 100%. And appreciated.
Yeah. It's very undervalued. Well, thank you so much for everything you've created, influenced, and you've brought such a tremendous positive impact on not just me, but like millions of young girls, women, creators, entrepreneurs, influencers, and people who just love beauty and art. And thank you for like all the lessons and hardship you went through for us so that we have this amazing future and this career.
We're just starting, hun. I feel like I'm just now beginning again. So I'm excited. I'm excited to grow with you too.
I'm excited to grow together. Thank you so much.
Of course.
Yay.
Oh, so fun.